Hey everybody, welcome to the end of 2013. I'm Nathan from Top Down Perspective, and I'm joined by Sean and John.
Yo.
Hey guys.
We got about a half dozen categories we're going to go through. We also crunched a bunch of numbers. That's kind of why we were late recording today for those watching live, so sorry about that. And we have the community's votes as well for the best stuff, worst stuff, all that stuff. So we're going to start.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
We have a category for stuff of the year.
Stuff of the year, best stuff, like
No,
maybe the Vita or
no more
something.
categories. I'm so tired of
Yeah.
We're just making up categories right now as we go along.
so much
Yeah.
stupid counting.
Check out SurveyMonkey, put in your votes. Don't stop. Thanks for participating, though, to everybody who did. We got a lot of feedback on that. We're going to start with bad note, disappointing games.
Yeah, so for those who haven't listened to a Game of the Year podcast from us before, we don't do a big overall podcast list for the show because we all play different games.
That worked out like one time where it turned out we all had a game that was in common on all of our lists that was pretty high, so we just decided, hey, Ghost Trick's awesome.
Yeah.
But this year's been crazy scattered all over the place, so I doubt that will happen, but who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be like, oh, man.
The three of us, we don't know what's on each other's lists. It's a mystery.
That's true.
It's a surprise.
It's a secret.
And that's part of the fun.
We all know what's on your list, so we just did that, so we're going to find out.
That's why we were late starting, because you guys sent us a lot of games.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the category. We're going to announce what the community winner was, along with two runners-up from the community. Then we will go, each of us will go in a circle and list our games for that category, and then we will go through the categories.
Who starts our circle? We didn't decide that.
Man.
I say Sean.
Okay, Sean kicks off the top-down perspective circle.
Well, then who goes next? Who do I hand the baton off to?
Nathan.
Okay.
So you get the final game?
I'm sorry, I was just saying I was going last out of politeness, but if you want me to go like...
I see what your scheme is, sir.
Do you want me to be nice here, or what?
It's fine. I'll go first. That's cool. All right, so... for
disappointing game of the year.
Right. For those curious, the list, the categories, and the order we're going to be going in through is disappointing game of the year, surprising game of the year, 2013's 20XX game of the year, followed by 2013's 2012 game of the year. What's the next one? Pile of shame, and game of the year. Those will be our categories. For us, we will have an additional honorable mentions that we didn't let you guys vote on, and we will also have a predictions section at the end.
Well, like just a look forward at next year's stuff that we're curious about, right? Like it's not predicting what'll happen in the industry, is it? Like Nintendo goes under or something.
Well, last year we kind of did both, so I think we should revisit those. I've written them up, and we should do some more.
Okay. That's way in the future, though. So let's just start with disappointing games. What did the community tell us was like just the stuff that didn't click this year, didn't pop?
The games that they didn't like. All right. Yeah. So again, we're gonna have a winner and a ranking, the second place and a third place, because we gave scores to all the games you gave and then added them all up. So the community's most disappointing game of 2013 was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Say what?
All right.
That's on that list. Followed up, second place, Aliens Colonial Marines.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
That's a bit more like it. And in third place, DMC Devil May Cry.
What?
So community did not. They were disappointed. Disappointed.
That game was actually decent.
Apparently not.
All
Also,
right.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Apparently not.
Well, okay, fair enough. If I'm saying that about DMC, I should probably also be saying that about GTA 5.
Yeah, because that's the top
to be
spot,
fair,
but
two of those huge expectations, right? So easy to be disappointed.
hyped up, another entry in a franchise. That
And again, this isn't
yeah.
this isn't worst game of the year. It's based on expectations. This category.
Right. So actually, yeah, there was some one of the entries that we got. It was still on the top 10 list, but it was still categorized as a major disappointment. So, all right, I get it. Sean? What was your most disappointing game in 2013?
My most disappointing game of 2013 was Layton Brothers on iOS.
Fair enough, because I know you're a big Layton fan.
I'm a huge Layton fan.
Non-Layton game.
I've watched that movie. I've played most of those games, all that are in America, And Leighton Blair is like, sweet, on my iPad, this sucks. I don't like this game at all.
You played through all of it too, right? Like
I
it was
did.
just
Yes. $5 for whatever whatever it was for the bonus episodes or whatever. I don't like that game. It was disappointing, and I hope they don't make more of those. Or if they do, I hope they're vastly improved. But that was my disappointing game of the year. Nathan, you're up next.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, sorry. I know these are secrets from you guys, and you're probably not gonna like either of these, but my most disappointing game of this year. Actually, no. I should start with my second most disappointing game, right? Because I have two.
Sure.
Okay. Second most disappointing was Luigi's Mansion: Dark Moon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely surprised by that.
Why was that?
I just felt like the stakes weren't like it just didn't make sense. I don't know. I wasn't compelled to keep playing it past like the first mansion, and that kind of bummed me out because I was kind of jonesing to get in there and do some more ghost hunting after like a decade. And I don't know, just the story. Like I know it's not a thing to complain about the story in a Mario game, but it just there was no pressure. It was like, why would Luigi do this? Why would he go into a scary mansion just for EGAD to have money for research or whatever? Like it just didn't work. I didn't like it, the setup, so I was not compelled to keep playing it. So yeah, I stopped, and I didn't think that would happen. So there's that. And then the next game, like the most disappointing game this year that I did finish, I don't know if it was just like mismanaged expectations, like the talk around this game or whatever, but I was really just angry and bummed out after I finished Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Well, I can understand being bummed out. That's kind of what the ending of the game's about.
No, not in like the way the story was. It was just like I expressed it before, but like the urgency of the situation, like your dad is dying of a disease. I just felt the gameplay didn't support that, and that kind of just put me off the whole time. And I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. So that was that. And it's kind of a weird thing to say. Like it was the most disappointing because like I had no knowledge of this game. Then everyone started talking about it, and it was like, oh, okay. And I got gradually more and more interested. And then when I actually played it, I was just like, what? So there you have it. John, what happened this year in the disappointment count?
I listed 3 games that I'm most disappointing, and they're not in any particular order, so I'll just list off what I see here. Aliens Colonial Marines.
Okay.
All right.
I really wanted that to be good. I want a good, legitimate, new Aliens game, because I just think it would be kind of cool to have something like that.
Sure.
I have like
Gearbox.
And that too, I was hoping for
a decent couple years.
The only good games Gearbox been able to release lately are Borderlands. You notice that? Because Duke Nukem Forever was a flop, although that's not technically their fault.
Yeah.
And again, with Aliens Colonial Marines, that was pushed around from developer to developer as well.
That's also true. So they're just kind of getting shit on. I just want Gearbox to put out a bunch of good games that aren't just Borderlands or Brothers in Arms.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else?
Sonic Lost World.
You had expectations that were positive for a Sonic game in 2013?
I played the demo at E3, and there were certain points I was feeling, certain points I wasn't, and then when it came out, everyone was like, no, avoid it. And I was like,
it's
okay.
Like, oh, it's going to be like Galaxy. Like, finally someone's going to try that level design.
Yeah, and apparently it just didn't work. It just didn't meet people's expectations.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's been some patching done to it that supposedly made the game better, but I have not gone back to check it out yet. So.
Okay.
And the last game I had on my list was Knack for the PS4.
Okay.
I was interested in picking that up. It looked like it was going to be like the system seller for the PS4, and then everyone was like, no, just avoid it. It's boring. So, I don't know.
I only played demos of it, but yeah, it seemed a little shallow, but okay. Fair enough. Disappointing games, yay! Woo! Kicking it off. Let's move to good stuff.
Next category. Well, this might not be good stuff. This is surprising game of the year. So this could have been something, again, based on expectations, but kind of came out of nowhere in one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right. So, again, community choice. In third place, we actually have 2 tied for third place.
Okay.
It's Grand Theft Auto 5 and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
So the most disappointing and one of the most surprising.
Okay. Well, it's
in
not
second
one
place,
person,
it's DMC Devil May Cry.
Okay.
And in first place, the most surprising game of the year for the top-down respective community is Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me because I feel like there's nothing ever surprising about Animal Crossing.
Well, this
And
one
that's the
kind of
problem.
seemed to spread a lot, right? Like I heard more people talking about this one
Yeah,
than
there's been so much
any
buzz
of
about
them.
Animal Crossing.
So this was probably a lot of people's first Animal Crossing game. And yeah, it's been the same for like a decade for us, but I don't know. I can see like the charm starting to spread and, people getting into it. And like the online stuff was more fleshed out this time. So, okay.
Sure.
But cool. That's good.
All right, and my surprising game of the year, and I took it in a positive light, so it surprised me delightfully, was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Okay.
I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I've played them all to completion, and the last two sucked. And so I was finally kind of like broken and like, come on, give me something good. Can they even do it anymore? And they did it. They delivered quite nicely. I had a lot of fun with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Okay. My surprising game of the year, I only have one on my thing here, was State of Decay, which I heard some chatter about, but then, I don't know, at this point, it's just like reading about a new zombie game. I'm not entirely sold on that premise anymore, just inherently, so it's just kind of like, well, whatever. And then eventually it was cheap enough on a Steam sale, I decided to check it out, and I was really impressed with just how they handle open world stuff, the amount of mechanics in there, like just the strategy kind of element, and like managing your team and stuff. So yeah, I was really impressed with, it put its best foot forward, I thought, and it kind of pulled me in right away, and I was pretty happy with what I found. So yeah, I had no knowledge or expectation of that, and it just kind of, came out of nowhere. So yeah, good times. John, surprises.
I have two technically.
Okay, rank them or no?
Well, one of them was an event because I thought it just meant in general, and then one was an actual game. So the event I was surprised about was Phil Fish just having a hissy fit and then quitting video game development.
Oh, okay. I didn't consider that angle on this category, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of silly, and the fact that it happened was just kind of ridiculous. But I mean, there's a lot of negative vitriol around for developers in that, so I always thought that was just kind of a weird breaking point for a lot of people.
Well, I don't think Phil Fish getting angry is.
Well, okay, that itself is not surprising. That dude has a thin skin, but I don't know. Just the fact that he flat out canceled his game. Well, canceled his game. He'll probably come back, and he's probably developing in secret if he's smart.
Yeah, but no, that was definitely like a just check Twitter one morning and go like, wait, what happened? And then total meltdown. So okay, but what was the game? What was the video?
The game was Typing of the Dead Overkill.
I played that yesterday.
Yeah, that was surprising because they announced it the day it came out.
Okay, so like a literal surprise.
Yeah, they were like, hey guys, there's this game, you can have it. I was like, all right, sweet, sure. So I bought it right away. I loved it.
Cool. Yeah.
Good times.
All right.
Moving on to the next category, which is 2013's 20XX Game of the Year.
Which really, I think, means XXXX Game of the Year, right? Like, it's just any time in history.
Remember, ball and stick. Going in for the win.
Checkers, chess, any of these things. Backgammon. I
never figured that game out. So this is a game that came out, basically.
Yeah, the game that year.
Because this category is so open, we have, for the community vote, 4 games tied for 3rd place.
Great. Yeah, this was one of those categories that just kept broadening. Like, it's just like the list kept growing because
it's a very long
kind
list.
Of amazing.
Yeah.
So, all right, in 3rd place is God Hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Followed by Devil May Cry HD Collection.
Yeah.
Also tied with Bomberman Act 0.
Yep.
As well as League of Legends.
All right.
In
there you
2nd
go.
place, we have Skyrim. And in 1st place, it is Earthbound.
Okay.
That's the community's vote.
That category was kind of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a long category for the community. That was, yeah. As for myself, I actually have 3 games, but I have a clear winner. So I guess these are kind of ranked. So in my 3rd place, it's Little Inferno. That's not right. It is Trine. I'm looking at the wrong list again.
Okay.
Whoops. Sorry, Trine
We know
won.
your game of the year now.
Little Inferno.
Yeah, Little Inferno, game of the year. In second place for 20XX is Phoenix Wright 1 again.
Okay.
And in first place, my 2013's 20XX game of the year is 999.
Nice. Good choices.
Yes. Visual novels are a lot of fun, I guess.
Okay.
Played a lot of that this year. And I can't wait to play more Phoenix Wright. And I basically put this category here so I could bring up 999 because that game's great. And I really want to play Virtue's Last Reward, which I have on the Vita because it was free with PlayStation Plus. I just need to find like 40 hours somewhere. Maybe in January.
But...
Not much is coming out. Nathan.
Okay. I didn't explore ancient history very much this past year, but I played Skyward Sword this year finally. That was pretty sweet.
You actually enjoyed Skyward Sword?
Yeah, I had a pretty great time with it.
Yeah.
Other than one dungeon, like I had a pretty fantastic time with the motion controls and everything. I have a bunch of games on this list though. Like I played through all of Red Dead Redemption again, if you remember, and I quite like that. I played through Arkham City again, and really like that, which might have dampened my enthusiasm for the other Arkham game that came out this year, but oh well.
It also wasn't that good, to be fair.
Yeah, I've played a bit of it now, and I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but okay. 3D Land, Super Mario 3D Land, I finally played that this year, and was pretty impressed with like its kind of hybrid 3D Mario, 2D Mario gameplay and everything.
It's really good.
And Tanuki suits and all that. But I think the number one for this year that just kind of I revisited and just kind of got more out of it than I ever had before, and it kind of put me down this weird path of reading a bunch of books and all this. Alan Wake and American Nightmare as well, like the second part to it. Yeah. Just I don't know, one led to the other, and then it led to me reading a bunch of Stephen King. So that game somehow ended up taking up a big chunk of my time this year, and I quite liked it. So Remedy, I got kind of hyped about them again. So cool. John.
Nice. All right. Well, I have two listed. One more so than the other, but I'll get this one out of the way because I have a feeling everyone expects it who's listening to this and knows me. Bomberman X-Zero.
Now, you're why it's on our community list.
Yeah, I'm why it ended up on the community list. So for the longest time, I knew that game was not that good. I'd only played the single player on it. It's a Bomberman game where the only multiplayer is online. So we played it on a stream it came up during a random game choice. And we had one of my friends had a copy of the game. We're like, all right, well, let's try out the multiplayer with 2 players. And then someone else snuck into it and made it 3 players. And then we had a lot of fun playing it. So then the next time it came up, we had 8 people playing it. And then we just kept playing it for hours on end. So eventually, it reignited my love for Bomberman, basically. And I don't know. I'm kind of glad it became a thing. And like I stream it every couple of weeks now. So
it's like you created or recreated the online community for Bomberman Act Zero, and found it to actually have decent online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Okay. Because I just remember people saying like that game was terrible, mainly because it redesigned everything and just looked all aggressive and angry, as opposed to what Bomberman normally looks like. But I hadn't heard about that game for years, so okay, seems it's solid. That's news to me.
But cool. my actual choice for 2013's 20XX of the year is Star Fox 2.
Oh yeah.
So the Super Nintendo game that did not get released, but it like people finished the ROM and put it out there. Incredibly fun game. I really wish we'd gotten it. It's basically like it's part Star Fox, the flying around shooting with the open range flying, and it's part maze game because you have to go through all these different dungeons and caves and missions. And it's also part strategy game because you have to manage your time and what planets you're going to while defending like your home base. It's an incredibly clever game, and I really wish we had gotten it.
But it came out in Japan, right?
No,
not at all. It just didn't come out.
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. That's what I thought.
The game got leaked at like 90% completion. Like it should have come out. That's how close.
Was
it
was
done.
Was it something like they wanted to clear the way for N64 or something? Like what was the rationale?
It was too close to the N64's life or release, so that's why.
Okay.
Miyamoto said that he didn't want the 3D of the game getting in the way of what the big push for the N64, which was the 3D. So
Okay. So don't let people with Super Nintendos be like, ah, whatever. This does 3D. Why don't you just make 3D for this thing? No, just shove that away. That's weird. But okay, cool. Star Fox finally gets his day. I don't know. What's next on the
Next is
category last year?
2013's 2012 Game of the Year. So this is a game that came out in 2012, but was played by you this year. You liked
So
this a lot this year.
So it just missed its window. Essentially, it just got bumped.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
often for me, these are games that I wish I could have played last year. They're usually on my honorable mentions, but I get to them this year. In terms of the community vote, in third place, it was Kid Icarus Uprising,
Okay.
which is not a very good game.
I've heard people like it. John played a lot of it. It's got loot in it, doesn't it? It's like Diablo.
Kid Icarus Uprising, really good.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
You know, did you have problems with the controls? Is that your issue?
Who didn't have a problem with the controls?
Some people didn't. I just changed my control scheme and I was fine.
In second place for community vote is Xenoblade Chronicles,
Okay.
and in first place by a landslide was Persona 4 Golden.
I wonder if Jake is the reason for that.
It's a good game too. I mean, I played the PS2 version, but I mean, it's a long thing. It could, be a thing where it's like, well, there's nothing coming out for like 3 months, and I need about 3 months to play this game, so perfect, and then it just fits right in there. But cool. All right.
As for my list, like I mentioned before, in third place is Little Inferno, which I played that in basically one sitting on a bus in Japan, so that was fun.
Perfect.
And then this next one, number 2, this was actually was number 1 for about, I want to say, 8 months of the year, because when I make my list kind of throughout the year as I play stuff. And this was Thomas Was Alone.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that game. I even hot seated it in another entire session with a buddy. That game's really great. That music is fantastic. Those characters are just wonderful. But then the one game that pushed it off, that I got really into, and it's just like a perfect, I'm watching a video on the internet, so I'll play some of this, was FTL.
Okay.
And I go back to FTL kind of often as just like, I've got 30 minutes, let's see how I can die again. And I've never beaten it on easy. I always get killed at that last stage. But that game is a ton of fun. So FTL is my game of 2012 in 2013.
Nathan.
I only have one on my list here, but maybe I should have done a more thorough inventory of stuff and when it came out. But Miasmata was a game I picked up, I think, actually late last year, but I just never got around to playing it. It came out in November. It's that first-person like island survival thing where you're like basically cartography stuff. You're mapping the island and trying to find a cure for this weird disease.
Yeah, one person did vote for it as well too. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no, I saw that was on the list and kind of smiled because I don't know, like I think this would have been a serious contender for like a top game of 2012 for me. Like I was really impressed with how it handled first person and also just walking, like momentum and stuff. Like it was like the most intrigued by first person movement I've been in a long time, and I was like really impressed with just its really different take on that. And like basically just the environment and you tumbling over ledges and stuff is like the primary thing that can go wrong in that game. But yeah, I was totally transfixed by it for like days. Like I played like about 30 hours of it in like a really short time span. So I really, really was impressed with it. So yeah, that was my top pick. How about you, John?
I only put one game on my list because I play so many random games I don't remember what year half of them come out anymore.
Okay.
But my choice for 2012 Game of the Year was Halo 4.
Okay.
I've always been a Halo fan, just kind of got out of the series for a while, just when I stopped playing multiplayer games a bunch. And then my buddy G wanted to play through the whole campaign on Legendary, and we did it in one sitting. And I just reignited my love for Halo and shooters, and I played a bunch of multiplayer in that game as well. So, yeah. Just reminded me why I enjoyed Halo in the first place, even if it's different than the other ones.
Are you intrigued about where they're going from here? Like, did the story set up future stuff pretty
I
well, or like,
yes
isn't
and no. I'm curious to
is
see what their Halo 5 is going to be, basically.
okay? Like, it's kind of a trilogy launch point, isn't it? Wasn't that how they were kind of pitching it, or
Yeah, but the way it ends is kind of finite in some ways.
okay?
Not with the Cortana stuff.
You don't think so?
No, it's totally a jumping off point. Like, right? Isn't it? It's been a while since
That's what I mean. Like, it seems like a finite ending point for that. It's like, all right, well then,
I seem to recall there being a bunch of stuff with Cortana that's still
Kind of left
needing
in
to be
the air.
solved.
there is
kinda-
something there is something that left in the air, but it seems like a case where like if you enjoyed the original trilogy, this could be the point where you can just kind of leave at this point if you want. But I'm curious to see what 343 is going to do with the series now that they have more free reign.
And I guess someone in the chat that just pointed out, they say they agreed with me that FTL is great. They just wish they'd give it post-launch support. They announced a couple months back they're making a new edition of it for iPad with more stuff.
And then that DLC is going to be free for people who has.
So there's more coming to FTL, and I can't wait for that.
Like, it is a really small team and stuff, so
Yeah.
it just takes a while for that to happen. But cool.
All right, next category. This is probably the most depressing category. The Pile of Shame.
Oh God. Here
These
we
are
go.
games that came out in 2013 that you really wish you could have played. So for us, we have a bit more than just the three that we said for you guys, but for the community, the top three. In third place, we have a tie between The Legend of Zelda: The Link Between Worlds and Pikmin 3. In second place, it's The Last of Us. And in first place is Super Mario 3D World.
So Nintendo well represented on there, but okay.
Nintendo well represented, yes. For myself, in no particular order, I have 3 games. This list was a lot longer, but in this last month or so, I was able to really knock some of these games off. The first one is Monaco.
Oh, nice. I actually played that the other day.
Right. I always wanted to, but I guess I just never had like a co-op buddy that wanted to, so I was never like.
That game, do not play that single player. That shines in multiplayer.
That's kind of what's kept me from. It's been in my Steam library for months, but it's just like I need a crew, and I do not want to make one right now. So
I played it last week with 2 players and just random puppies joining and leaving. It was not we weren't feeling it, but when we had 4 players that we all knew each other and could communicate, really good.
Yeah.
So that definitely shines if you have a full crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then my other 2 games are 2 iOS games. The first one is Year Walk. I heard some real cool stuff about that game.
Okay.
And from the same developers, Device 6.
Simogo. Yeah, they're really kind of doing some awesome stuff on iOS right now. So
yeah, so I really want to play those. Maybe they'll end up as a 2014's 2013 game next year. We'll have to see.
I got a huge list, so I'm going to kind of go through them pretty quick. Like the community, Pikmin 3 is on there. Thanks, Sean, for lending it to me. I haven't played it yet. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which is a Plus title. I think that was this year,
yes.
Right? Like the new version of it. I'm dabbled with the first Dragon's Dogma a bit. I'm still like intrigued, but it seems kind of just really big and huge in a way I couldn't set aside time for, so that may eventually happen. Metro Last Light, I've been meaning to play that for quite a while. I just, again, didn't get around to it. Like the first one reasonably enough, but just didn't happen. It's kind of weird because it's like an early access game. It's not out, but GotY, Peter Molyneux's new thing.
I played some of that.
How is it? Like, should I feel bad for missing it, or is it not?
I thought it was really boring.
Okay. Maybe waiting for next year is
it is a god sim, isn't it? Still in beta, like you said.
Yeah, it's alpha maybe. It's really early, but just his talk at PAX had me really intrigued about kind of the just aspects of it, so I wanted to take a look at it. Don't Starve. I played a little bit of it, but not enough. I think I feel like there's more there that I want to see. I just didn't have time to really delve into it. That's kind of true of a couple of these. I'm going to go through those. Don't Starve, Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and The Swapper are all games I've played, but I feel like I haven't done them justice. I dabbled a bit, and I didn't get to really crack into them proper. And I'm more and more convinced there's going to be joy to be had there. I just didn't get over the hump. And finally, like just because of how much I've been talking about it for years, Deadly Premonition, the director's cut.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't touch that at all.
I know. I bought it day one, installed it like pretty shortly thereafter, and then just never did it. Like just never jumped in again. So yeah, that will eventually happen. So that's my list of stuff I kind of wish I got to play, but time is finite, so didn't happen.
All right, John, let's hear it.
Oh my God! In no particular order: Ni no Kuni, Tomb Raider, BioShock Infinite,
Oh man.
Animal Crossing New Leaf, Gone Home, GTA 5. I put The Last of Us here because I really only had that one gaming session with it.
Okay.
I really got into the meat of the game. Need for Speed Rivals. I really didn't get far enough in that to get a good taste of it. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, same thing, even though I did clear a mission. XCOM Enemy Within, especially considering how much I loved XCOM Enemy Unknown.
That was your game of the year last year.
I know, and I never touched Within at all. Papers, Please. Phoenix Wright.
Dude.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies. Killer is Dead. Gears of War Judgment. Pikmin 3.
Just keeps going.
Shin Megami Tensei 4. And Pokemon Y.
How many games is that?
I stopped counting.
Okay.
You don't want to know.
Almost doubled mine. But okay.
17.
That's a lot of games.
And I'm sure there's a ton more I cannot think of right now.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
yeah. You named a couple I wish I had touched a bit more too. I can't remember at the moment. That's
Okay.
Yeah, whoops.
Games.
Games.
So many games.
Ace Attorney was on there, but then again, I'm so far behind I can't play that one yet and stuff. But
Oh, just in the series, yeah.
yeah.
All right, there you
All
go.
right. So we have one category that we did not open up to the community that we'll quickly go through. These are honorable mentions. So these are games that are not on our top 10 list, but there was something about them that we wanted to give them a spotlight. We wanted to say something about them so that they get their time of day because they did something cool to us or we really enjoyed them, but they did not break the top 10.
Okay.
So my list is, how long is your guys' list? I have about 8 or so games.
I have 6 on here.
I have 7.
Okay, so why don't we go in like a circle like we'll do for top 10.
Okay.
So I can start us off. This would have been game 11, but it is BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
Okay.
Just I won't say too much because I'll save all of our big speeches for Game of the Year. But BioShock Infinite is a ton of fun. I love the way it looks. That ending is crazy. And like I said, that game was number 11, and it really hurt having to cut that.
Oh, okay. But this is the time for BioShock Infinite then, because I'm just gonna say
No,
it's not.
no. Hey, wait until top 10 if it's on your top 10.
But it's not. That's what I'm saying, and it's not on John's because he hasn't played it.
Clearly, it's not on mine.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it too. It was just a fun, fast-paced adventure. I actually enjoyed generally the combat and stuff. I kind of wish I got around to the DLC. That's kind of the BioShock regret of this year. But yeah, Burial at Sea, that is not the combat thing, which I do have. That was weird. I didn't really like it, but okay, yeah, BioShock Infinite was pretty cool. Oh, my turn.
Yep.
Animal Crossing New Leaf. I spent a long time playing it. So like it kind of pulled me in again, but at some point it became a bit grindy for me to kind of not look back on it with a little bit of, was that fun? Like when it had boiled down to just I go to the island every night to catch bugs.
Yeah.
I eventually kind of fell out of love with that whole thing. But discovering all the new stuff they put in there, meeting villagers again and all that, like that, there was definitely some really fun moments that happened in Animal Crossing. So I still had a generally pretty great time with it, but not great enough, I guess.
I think one thing with me for Animal Crossing that City Folk had that this one didn't was just the release date of it.
Yeah.
Just the because when New Leaf came out, there was kind of no holiday around.
Oh yeah, they had like some summer bug hunt events and
Whereas
stuff, but there was no like
came
thing.
out in didn't it come out in like December? Like it was pretty close to Christmas.
It was close. I
Yeah.
think it was a November release.
Something real close. So you kind of always had that like, well, I'll just keep playing because Christmas will be great. and it kind of just kept pulling you further. Whereas New Leaf was like, what's the next one? Oh, Halloween in like 3 months?
Yeah, so I stopped in for Halloween, but then it passed midnight, and I got basically like that all ended, and I was like, oh man, I missed it. And then I saw what Christmas was. It was Toy Day, and like a reindeer comes to town and stuff, but like Brittany was playing it. But I didn't go back. I didn't get to meet that guy, and there's like Santa costumes and all that stuff. Like there's still all that cool stuff in there. It's just the zeitgeist period was too early in the year for me to reach that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
that kind of 3-month window that Animal Crossing has. But yeah, it's still fun. I guess I wish Blathers had more dialogue. That is my one weird caveat that just came to mind. Like every time you give him a thing, he's like, "Oh, that reminds me of the story." Anyway, and like he never actually says a story. Like it's so non-specific. It kind of bummed me out every single time I gave that guy a thing, because it's just like you used to say actual unique jokes. Now it's just nah. This is all the same. I don't know. Minor beef. That's why it got bumped off the list. Would have made it. Whatever. John, what was one of yours?
Charlie Murder.
Oh yeah, that came out. I forgot about that game.
Yeah, no, I reviewed it for a promo I was doing, but I really had a lot of fun playing that game. I'm a big fan of 2D beat-em-ups, and that was just really fun. It was a love letter to all the games I love. So yeah, that's why it was on an honorable mention.
Okay.
Okay, this one's it's kind of a game. You get scored in it. There are leaderboards.
Okay.
Xbox Fitness?
Sure. It's a soft piece of software on a game console. It's close enough.
I got achievement points, so
gamification of real life.
I'm wearing a Fitbit, so I love gamification.
Okay.
Xbox Fitness. It would have been in my top 10 if I hadn't had that kind of one bad experience with one of the workouts. It seems to track like cardio workouts pretty well because it just needs to look at your body, but doing more than that, it's not the best. And I had really high hopes for it, and maybe if I was more interested in doing cardio workouts, I would have it higher on, or I would actually have it in my top 10. But in terms of what I was using it for, it didn't hold up as much as I would have liked it to, at least the connection stuff. So that's when I bumped it down. But it is still cool, and it's awesome that it is free for a year. So.
Okay. I already mentioned it on kind of a pile of shame, but I felt I played enough of it to get a sense that I liked it. Maybe I should skip it. Whatever. The Swapper seemed really compelling, but I am not quite done it yet. So the coolest part of it I haven't seen yet. Right. So I felt weird about putting it on a top 10 list, so it kind of slipped down, and now it's not on there anymore. But, yeah, there's that.
P-Cross E3.
Okay.
I like the cross games. It was fun, and I think the third one was better than the second.
Okay, I was like, can't you just say the E series or something? But,
well, 2 and 3 did come out this year, but 1 didn't. So.
Okay.
Where's my P-Cross 3D2?
That's also a good point.
Yeah, sheesh. All right, next game on mine is Ni no Kuni. This is mainly an honorable mention because it's like the only like JRPG I played in the last like 3 years or something.
Okay.
Like to completion, just sat down. So that was cool to do, but there is not enough Studio Ghibli in that. So what is going on?
Yeah, you said they kind of open strong, and then it kind of just big dead zone in the middle of like just
and not even like a huge big ending, just kind of nope.
That's too bad.
I still had fun with it, and I still played it for like a week straight, so that's why it's there.
Okay. Mine, this might surprise you, but it didn't make the list. Scurvy Scalawags.
What?
I know.
I'm a little surprised, but I could see that being like a top 10 or like 10 at the most.
What?
Yeah, it's a mention.
I don't even think you're allowed to not have that in your top 10.
I think it's because at some point it crossed the line from being fun to being compulsive in a way that was no longer endearing to me. So it was just like, oh god damn it, I died again. I gotta play all these fucking islands again. Like it kind of went over the line.
Nathan is the best.
Yeah, it got a little weird. So like, I still really like the combat system. It pulled me into like
Guys,
that kind of.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It got a little crazy in there. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's just not even talk about it.
Well, it pulled me in a way Puzzle Quest didn't. So I finally kind of got that rush of having a persistent like match 3 game or whatever. But at some point it just kind of like the little things like if you don't play it for a while, the app kind of nags at you. Like that kind
I
of
hate
bothered
that.
me.
I hate that so much.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, your pirate's getting anxious. It's like I already beat the game. Like just leave me alone.
No.
Like
The minute I see that,
eventually,
it's like, oh hell no! Settings, notification, you're gone.
yeah. So even though I played like so much of it, and I found it was a really like I like that it was a vertically oriented, easy to play phone game that just kind of made a bunch of bus rides really easy. It eventually kind of lost the luster a little bit, so it slipped off the top 10 list into this category. But I still like a lot of things about it. I think it kind of does a good job at doing that kind of compulsive puzzle thing without being too gross about it. Like it's $1 and you get like pretty much the entire game. You don't really need to pay anymore. Like that kind of to set it apart for me a little bit. But yeah, it didn't quite hold up, I guess, after I'd finished it and stuff. So yeah, that's that. Scalawags. John.
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Okay.
I enjoyed it when I played of it. It was fun trying to figure out where all the gems were and just kind of searching around for stuff. But yeah, no, wasn't top 10 worthy.
Okay.
My next
Too
one is
long?
Brothers.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Brothers
I thought this
most
was
likely
a
would
lock.
have been on my top 10, except for that weird issue I hit.
Yeah, I can see why that would have completely killed it on that. Especially if that's a short game that you can almost knock out in one sitting.
Right, like I've never experienced an issue like that in a game ever. Just no explanation. It's not working.
Yeah.
So like if I hadn't got that, it would like definitely be on my top 10. But I can't do it because I had such an awful experience midway through it.
Yeah, it's just like a big bump in the road. Like it's a smooth journey and then totally derailed. That
Yep.
sucks. For me, Antichamber is on my mentions list. I guess it's like a 13 or whatever that is. Really cool like visual style to that game. The puzzles and like kind of just the spatial reasoning stuff that game toys with is really really awesome. But I guess at some point it was just like there's no carrot on the stick really. It's just you're just exploring and solving puzzles for the sake of it. There's like not really any narrative or like any kind of stuff teasing you other than just the puzzles themselves. So it kind of maybe it's a little dry or something. Like at some point I was just kind of no longer drawn back to it. But there's some really inventive stuff in there, and it still kind of made an impression. So yeah, I'm still pretty positive on that game, but eventually it just kind of dried out. But yeah, there you go.
Rayman Legends.
That game's fun.
That game is fun. It's really good. It's way better than the new Super Mario Brothers series. Super
Okay.
fun.
Yes.
Super
Yes.
fun, inventive platforming game. But yeah, I just didn't quite make my list. That probably would have been my 11.
Mm.
My
Actually,
next
no,
one.
it definitely was my 11. Sorry, because I bumped it off for something else.
Oh, okay.
My next one is Hundreds for iOS.
Okay.
I love
Like
the
were you
design
playing
of
it
that
on
game.
iPad or?
I was playing it on iPad because why
Okay,
wouldn't
yeah.
you if you have one, right? Like
Exactly. Like I was playing the phone one, and everyone was kind of saying like it's too cramped. You can't enjoy that game properly. So I felt I wasn't getting the proper experience. But okay.
yeah, the design of that game, the look of it, it's all great, and it's just so simple. They do so many cool different variations with just hold down these dots.
Did you
So
finish it? Like, did you solve it?
I know I got into like the 90s, and then I was just like,
Okay.
I can't do this. So,
Yeah. No, it's
There
kind
you
of
go.
rough. For me, Call of War as Gunslinger was on there. That was really close to being on the top 10, but I think it was just looking back at the year, it was like that was a really great but really brief experience. Like there wasn't anything to keep me going after I've already played through it. Like for a fun like action campaign, I thought it did some really cool stuff with narration and whatever, but it just didn't. There wasn't enough meat there really for me to consider it. And like what it did differently wasn't different enough for it to just get by on that kind of thing. So pretty great though. I was not expecting much from Call of War's game at this point. Like I played the first one and was kind of just unimpressed, but there was enough positive talk about it that I checked it out, and yeah, it's indeed pretty cool. So that's on there. Does anyone else have some, or am I alone? Or now?
I still have like 4.
I've got 3.
Oh right, I have the least number. So
yeah, you
okay.
also knocked out one of yours faster, so you technically did one extra. So
Oops. Okay.
That's cool. That's they're just saying because you had the same one that Sean did.
Right, right.
Okay.
Uh,
DMC Devil May Cry.
Whoa.
didn't make the cut.
I
Whoa,
didn't.
Yeah.
I
dude.
didn't. I didn't play enough of it to be
Like,
honest.
what's
Okay.
on John's list now? That's just totally twisting my.
I told
Yeah,
you
I
my
just-
my list is weird this year.
All right.
I really enjoyed the game. I'm glad that it was a good game and like I was having fun playing it, but I just kind of wasn't in the mood to play it after I got to a certain point. I just wasn't in the mood to play any major hack and slashes. That's why Metal Gear Rising also didn't make my list. Had I played them both, they probably would have been in my top 10 or played them to completion.
Sure.
Because I've heard Revengeance gets shit batshit crazy, and apparently I was like one chapter away from like the craziest stuff in DMC.
Right.
Oh,
Sure,
okay.
sure.
It's just kind of stalled out.
Because
before
like
it got
I was told like
overdrive.
I was told like the Fox News knockoff scene is one of the best scenes in DMC, and I was a chapter away from that.
Yeah, I've been hearing that all year because that came out a long time ago, right? Wasn't that,
That was
like?
that was January. That was 2 weeks into the year.
Yeah, it's just been like
we
almost a
have
year of people saying
predictions
that.
of you talking about it at the end of this show.
Whoa, there you
Yeah.
go. Check out that episode. Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm sad I didn't make it, but he got bumped.
My next one is Pokemon X. I guess Y. Yeah, same thing. You know, I love Pokemon. It didn't do anything too surprising or new for me to put it up on my list over those other games. But it was still great to see the new art style and what it did do in order to make me remember it. And I think we just lost John,
Oh crap.
so I will
Okay.
invite him back.
I guess it's my turn to talk, but I guess I'll wait a second or.
You might as well go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. This one I feel like might well be trotting on top 10 territory here, but it just got bumped, and it was kind of just a internal argument as to whether it really I should bump it or whatever. But The Last of Us, number 11.
Huh. All right.
I found it really compelling while I was playing it and such. I played it on hard difficulty, found that kind of added something to it, but I don't know. It was, I guess, maybe something about like the amount of story stuff that was in cutscenes, like kind of maybe that's not how I prefer my game narratives. I don't know. It was like really impressive in a lot of ways. I like the stealth combat, but I don't know. It didn't have that kind of resonance for me that people have talked about. Like it's just like, oh man, that story just goes in unexpected, crazy directions. I was like, I don't know. It just didn't grab me that way. I found it very slick and polished in that way Naughty Dog does, but it didn't have that extra special thing for me to put it above some of the other stuff that I found more kind of maybe not as like slick, but more personally kind of impressive. So yeah, it's just subjective, like whatever. I still found it really, really great and played through it and didn't feel like I wasted my money or anything. It was definitely pretty good, but I don't know, just didn't quite do it for me. But
Sure.
I guess we still have to wait a second, John.
Well, I might as well go. Might as well keep going until John gets back. I've invited.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. I sent him a message, so hopefully. I have no idea what's going on with John. Hopefully, we don't have
Okay.
to stop the video and start up a part 2. He says Google Hangouts crashed, so I'm assuming he'll be back on in a bit.
Okay.
All right. My next game is The Wonderful 101. That game is not fun to play. But
That's
it is
kind
a-
of that's kind of key. But you said it's got so much charm, it kind of manages to overcome
that
most
game
of that.
has so much heart and so
Yeah.
much character that you just put that game on very easy, and it's like it is probably the funniest game I played all year. I love a ton of the jokes that are in there, but it is not fun to play that game, unfortunately.
That's too bad. I don't know. That's kind of like such a weird recommendation too. Like it's like, do I want to check that out then? Because it's not good, but it's good. So
It's almost like the perfect example of like, watch it on YouTube kind of.
okay. What's next? I guess I'm out of stuff.
You know stuff. Okay,
what's
I
next?
got 2 more.
Okay.
So we'll go through mine, and then I guess when John comes back, we'll just go through his. The next one for me was Guacamelee.
I just bought that, but I haven't played it yet.
Right. Yeah, Steam sale. That game's a lot of fun. Really charming. I played it on the Vita. It was like my first cross-buy, I guess.
Okay.
I love the look of it. Metroidvania is always fun, and the moves you get are crazy. That goat dude is funny every time you find him. So yeah, that was just a fun game to work my way through. And my last honorable mention is the Stanley Parable.
Oh, okay. Not quite cracking the top 10, but okay. That was fun. I liked it, but
yeah, it did a lot of cool things, but it was kind of fleeting for me personally. It was kind of more of just like everyone's talking about it this weekend. I'll see what it's like. I played through it or whatever. Had my fill of it, and then I was kind of just I guess psychologically done with that game for the most part.
Well, it's just like find the jokes, like find the new path to see jokes about games. So yeah, there's not. I don't know. I can see why that would definitely not have too much lasting impression. For me, it kind of was just nice as like laying out a lot of like cliches for games in ways that I can refer to other people who've played it. So just like, this game's kind of got that adventure line thing going on, and then people go like, oh yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting point of reference, but as a game, yeah, it's a little thin maybe. Just walk and find this stuff. But John, you back?
John back.
Yeah, sorry. I'll tell you, Sean, I had to pause my audio recording because I wasn't sure how long I was down or if I had to restart my computer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened. Google Hangouts suddenly crashed and closed on its own, and then Firefox crashed on its own, separately from that, and then my sound drivers crashed, and then I just had to just restart everything.
That sucks.
All right. Well, we've
really
been continuing.
Yeah, I heard like the delay on the stream, so I heard you said Guacamelee and Stanley Parable.
Right. So I guess I don't know. Let's stop our audacity. Then we'll clap us in again, and I'll fix it in post.
I went back to recording, so just keep yours going. Just keep yours going, and you'll just know the point where I come back in.
Okay, and I'll just slide you in where you fit.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. So, yes, you've seen what I've played. Nathan finished his list, so John, just go through the last ones on your list for honorable mentions.
All right, I only had 2 left. Injustice, Gods Among Us.
All right.
Okay.
Big
I never got a chance to play that.
I liked it. The story mode was good. Not as good as Mortal Kombat was the previous year or two.
Okay.
The characters played good. I really liked how Mortal Kombat 9 plays, so I kind of like that. Although it was not, it's just not as good as Mortal Kombat in every aspect, but I still enjoyed it. Definitely not enough just to meet the same goal, but yeah.
I really like that story mode.
The story mode's good, but I think Mortal Kombat 9 does the story mode better.
I just okay, first scene. It's not much of a spoiler. I've said it on the podcast before. Superman kills the Joker. That's bananas. That is bananas. So yeah, what's your last game?
Final
Seems
game.
out of character, but okay, maybe they explain it.
They did.
Weird.
It is very explained. Final game on my list of honorable mentions is The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
What? Okay. Maybe tip my hand a bit there. That may show up again in the show.
All right. I enjoyed it. It is the first Zelda game in an incredibly long time that has actually kept my interest long enough for me to finish it.
Okay.
But
so that's a good point.
I just kind of felt like I was still going through the paces while playing it. I was
yep.
Dun, this is good. I felt engaged enough to want to finish it, but not like this is the most mind-blowing game in the world. It's just like,
Did you finish it? You finished it?
Yeah, I did finish it.
Okay, all right.
I finished it, I think, Friday.
Cool.
I enjoyed all the fights. I enjoyed all the dungeons, but it's just like, this is okay.
Do you think the renting system has potential to go forward in the series?
I like the concept of it. I don't like the execution of it.
Okay. Like it just kind of.
What's wrong with?
The repossession part of it, because that was getting tedious.
No, I kind of understand that, but at the same time, that forces you to play a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
Sure.
But no, I don't know. It just did not quite make the list for me.
Okay. We'll perhaps see that game again. It's
all right.
Yeah,
that's all of the smaller categories. All we have left is now our top 10 lists, along with the top 10 list from the community choice.
Mm-hmm.
The way we will do this is, again, we will go in a circle. We will do our top 10, like our number 10, our number 9, working our way down to 1. and we won't do all of the community up front. We will put them in with our round table discussion.
Yeah, include them in the.
There's a few ties in the top 10 for the community, so there's a few more than 10 games in the community list. I'll say that. We just let them all fit in the slot.
Okay.
But starting off, we'll do community first. The community's 10th favorite game, or I guess the number 10 slot of 2013 was Ace Attorney Dual Destinies.
That would be on my list if it wasn't in my pile of shame.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm next, I suppose. So my number 10 game of the year was Resogun.
Oh, really?
Yes.
PlayStation 4 repping on the list. Okay. What was it about Resogun that impressed you?
It kind of hit my Geometry Wars bug, itch of just go high score, let's do it. I wish I had more friends who would beat me on the leaderboards, so I had more incentive to aggressively go back and play it. But
okay.
I have a lot of fun. I like the way it looks and sounds. Colors are going everywhere, and the PS4 where I can play that thing on my Vita. I did that, and that was fun too. I had a lot of fun with Resogun, and I want to have more fun. John, you should play more Resogun.
I'll try. I did enjoy it, so. Nathan.
Number 10 for me was also the surprise State of Decay. Made it on there.
Nice.
Mainly just the way it handles open world, the way it does indoor and outdoor, just kind of blew my mind in a way. It was just why haven't more games had this thorough of an open world where you can go into every house and find stuff? And even though I haven't finished it, there's there's a good chance I'll go back and play more of that. There's more to be seen and done. So yeah, but that initial few long sessions there really impressed me. So
I guess I will mention. For those who haven't listened to our Game of the Year podcast before, if one of us mentions a game that is further on someone else's list, they will also talk about it then, and then we will skip their turn when we get down there.
Yeah.
Just so we don't talk about the same game twice. We might as well just put them together. With the exception of the community, because I would rather present my games than the community.
Okay. So you're saying if the community has a game on there that's on yours, you'll just be like, okay, cool, and then move on until it's on one of our lists?
Yes. Then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
John, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Super Mario 3D World.
That's my number 9. So.
All right, that's my number 5.
All right.
You're shocked that I have it so low on the list?
Yeah, I was thinking this is John's number 1. John is Mario guy.
You know what the funny thing is? It almost didn't make my top 10. That's what I bumped Rayman Legends for.
What is your list?
I told you my list is weird this year!
Holy smokes, okay. Tell me why you hated Super Mario 3D World.
I didn't hate Super Mario 3D World. I think it's a good game. It obviously is if it made top 10.
Why'd you barely like it? No, I don't. It's at number 9 for me, so it's kind of lower than I thought it might end up being, but
Can I be blunt about one thing about Super Mario 3D World?
Yeah, sure.
I don't like it in multiplayer. I don't.
Okay, I haven't done that yet, but it seems like it might be too chaotic to actually be
What are you talking about? You and me played it together.
Oh, barely. I got there at the end of that. Oh, right, there was the 2-player, but once you bump it up to 4, I only got into a little bit of that, and it just seemed nuts. It was just you guys are just running, and I'm trying to play. But, okay, I will just fall and be in a bubble. But yeah, 2-player seemed to be functional in a way that 4 loses it a bit. But John, what are you talking about? 4 players, 2 players, any of it? You just want to play it by yourself?
I've done 2 and 3 players, and it's just it's kind of a pain in the ass at certain points. It ruins the flow of the game, in my opinion.
Okay.
So this is a game that feels like it's been properly designed for 1 player.
Although I was hearing some people say the stages are too wide for 1 player to get the same kind of fast-paced stuff because it's a 4-player game. Right. Did you feel that at all? The stages were too big?
No,
really
I kind of like the size of the stages. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard that complaint.
The stage design in these games, or in this game, incredibly solid. Love the stage design. It gets super creative later on. It's just, I don't know. Just something about it. While it feels good, and it's definitely the strongest Mario platform game we've got in a while, it just did not really quite scratch the same itch that other games have in the past. So
For me, I think why it's kind of lower on the list was, I mean, I did play 3D Land this year as well, so some of the surprise was gone, but that's still, I felt that made some more anticipation for it on a big screen and everything. It's just like I had one really magical day with it, and then that was kind of it. Like I just kind of put it down after that, and there's more to be seen and more to be done, but I kind of had one big like marathon, and then it just didn't pull me back yet. So I don't know. It's really impressive, really colorful. I like the new costumes and the music and everything. I don't know why they have Mario come up to save every single time you beat a stage.
At least it's a short, quick save. It's not that bad. And keep in mind,
I'm always ready to go.
Keep in mind,
and it doesn't let
all
you.
the new Super Mario Bros. Games force you to beat a specific stage to save the game.
Yeah.
This at least lets you stop playing whenever you want.
I guess. It's just, I don't know why he can't just pop up in the corner and be auto-saving like every other game.
I do mean it's kind of weird it takes a couple seconds, but it's a short couple seconds.
I know. I was just saying it was like this weird little naggy thing that happened like 200 times while I was playing it. But anyway, Sean, you liked it more than us.
So yeah, this game was my number 5.
Okay.
You guys were crazy.
I still liked it. It's number 9. Top 10. It's better than Last of Us, according to this guy.
I played a ton of that. I had probably a solid weekend of playing through that. Again, had great moments of just kind of going on the couch and playing that on my on the gamepad. Even though it's not the best use of the gamepad, but the music's fantastic in that game. It looks fantastic.
Yep.
That cat suit is great. Some of those levels are so much fun that I would specifically get people to come over and play it so I could show them specific levels. I really wish it had a bookmarking system so I could remember which levels I really liked. That's the one issue I had with it. But yeah, those games, I had so much fun with those games. And I didn't play a ton of multiplayer. I played it primarily single player. But the times I did play multiplayer, you have the expectation that this is just going to be chaotic. So I didn't care if I was losing or whatever.
Okay. I also like the Miiverse use in that. That was one of the first times I was really impressed by that. Like just the whole community talking about it and like yaing various dumb jokes and comics they were making with the stamps. Like there's some kind of fun zeitgeist moments there playing it the first day it came out. But yeah. Okay.
All right.
Community number 9.
Community number 9. There was actually 2 games tied for community number 9. It was Project X Zone or Cross Zone and BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
Wow, those were the 2 tied games
For number 9.
Oh, there's another tie later on too. You're right.
There's another tie. There's one more tie later on. My number 9 game.
I can't believe a Cross Zone is the same as Infinite. That's so weird.
That's our community. That's kind of cool.
I mean, like I enjoyed Cross Zone, but like not to the extent I would enjoy BioShock Infinite.
Maybe. I
don't know. I don't know how to put it. Like, I mean, I enjoy turn-based strategy, so I can't say too much.
Okay.
My number 9 was Need for Speed Rivals.
Oh, it actually. Oh, I thought.
I put it on my pile of shame because I hadn't played it enough. That's why. That's probably what you're thinking of.
So you ended up quite liking it then. I thought.
I quite like it. I don't quite get all the criticism it's been getting, specifically with Giant Bomb, but no, like even just like showing like John like just how easy you can go in and out of races with whatever you're doing. I love that soundtrack. I think that game looks really nice as well. I love all the like leaderboard stuff of like when you go off a jump, you can see a dotted line of like someone on your the highest person on your leaderboard, so you know if you had a better arc than them and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, just being able to like go in a race, and then it's like, well, while I'm in a race, the pursuit's going to start, and then when I'm done the race, I still got to get out of this pursuit, but I'm going to do another race while I'm doing this, and then the whole easy map system with the D-pad of like being able to navigate around, it's great. I really enjoyed Need for Speed Rivals.
Yeah, had I played more of it, it probably would have creeped up in my top 10.
The story is pretty non-existent and goofy.
But yeah, like did you enjoy even when I was playing a little bit at your place, it was like the dialogue is really weird. Like
what were some choice lines from that game, anyways? Because I know the cops.
Some choice line that I can remember off the top of my head is like the police just kicked the hornet's nest.
Okay.
Or like to stop them, we have to become them.
Yeah, all right.
So
just like weird, extreme talking dudes racing.
Yeah.
Sure.
The racer's name is Zephyr. So
Okay.
that's so dumb. But
Oh, and isn't the
yeah,
cop go undercover as Fate or No
something like
Fate?
that. I haven't
Is it
got to that
8?
part with the cop. I've been playing more of the racer side.
Okay. But
But
all right, there it is on there.
yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Yeah, the story's pretty ignorable for the most part. You just need to kind of make sure you're hitting these milestones, which you can do while you're doing anything else. So I think it's nicely designed, and I like it.
Okay. My number 9 we already talked about. So John,
What was your 9 again? Oh, Mario.
3D World. Yeah.
My number 9 is Cloudberry Kingdom.
Okay. You did get
game's
way
too
into
hard.
that game.
It takes a kind of special game to put me into a competition where I play it for 30 hours and then still be okay to play it later on.
Yeah.
That game is like ridiculously difficult, and I still enjoyed every moment of it.
And it's potentially an infinite resource of ridiculous platforming. So.
The story stages are predetermined, but yeah, like the escalation modes are randomly generated stages. So if you want to challenge yourself, honestly, just play Cloudberry Kingdom, especially for the platforming games.
It's so hard. Holy smokes. Community's
back
number
around to
8.
the community. Number 8.
Community number 8 was Shin Megami Tensei 4.
All right. I have not played it. That was in John's pile of shame, right? So you at least have the intention to play it. Yeah. I swear it was. Someone mentioned it.
Which one?
Shin Megami Tensei 4.
Yeah, it was a couple places in the survey.
No. In your list of stuff you wanted to play.
Oh yeah, no, that's on my pile of shame.
Yeah, so
Exactly. Okay, that's what I said. There's 17 games on there. I thought it was one of them. Anyway, cool. Sean, number 8.
My number 8 is actually a piece of downloadable content that came out this year.
Okay.
It is the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3.
I heard that was good. I'll play it someday.
It is really great if you have attachment to those characters and that universe. It is a must play. It's basically 2 sections. There's one where you're trying to stop a thief, and then the second one you're making a party. The thief stuff is pretty ignorable. Like, who cares about that? But planning a party with all your friends, who you're going to invite, who gets to handle what, and every character you get to just chat with them about their life and what they're up to. It's really great, and as someone who really likes those characters and is really interested in that universe, like, I've read all those books, it was a great finish to that trilogy for me.
So Mass Effect House Party.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I just didn't get around to that. Actually, I'm more in a weird spot where it's like I want to play through that entire trilogy again, so maybe I'll end that endeavor with that DLC in like 2016 or something.
Yeah,
but
that would take a while.
My number 8 was Saints Row 4.
Ooh, it's on my list. Should I say where?
Okay. Do you want to spoil where? Or
Should I?
That's how we're
Or
supposed
you
to.
could just say it when we get to that spot for you, if you'd prefer.
It's high on the list. I'll say that.
Okay. I'll just. I really liked it. If you recall, like I was a little put off by 3. Like I just didn't get the love everyone had for it, and I felt 4 addressed all of my issues on that front because it just lets you get crazy as soon as possible. It doesn't kind of lead you through a bunch of kind of tedious stuff first. There's a crazy Super Saiyan wig. I had a wizard robe, and I was jumping all around playing Crackdown. And yeah, it was kind of the Crackdown game I wanted too, and I didn't even know I wanted more of that, but I did. And I collected 1,000 orbs and didn't even think about it. It was just awesome. So yeah, that game did a bunch of stuff I found really endearing and funny, and just kept playing it. I just wanted to see it all. So I'll probably play more even. Like there's more to go do, but that central story just I found totally addictive. I couldn't get enough of it while I was in there. So yeah, but just I don't know, Mass Effect jokes, Matrix jokes, like just dumb stuff, but they kind of do it okay. Like I was laughing more often than not. So yeah. That beat 'em up bit. I really like that bit.
Saints of Rage was pretty good.
Yeah, that was like you got to come see this. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, fun times. I guess we won't tip where it is on your list. So John,
I can say it if you want.
What's up?
Does it ruin?
No, it's not my number 1. So.
Okay, we'll go ahead then.
All right, it's number 2.
Okay.
Okay. There
Why
you
is
go.
it your number 2?
I just really enjoyed it, honestly. I keep in mind I didn't play too much of Saints Row 3, so all like the jokes from 3 that transferred to 4 didn't really like wear out on me because it still
Okay.
felt fresh to me. I enjoyed the superpowers. Like, it was super fun just being able to fly through the city, no problem. I played it co-op online, and while there were glitches, but it still was fun to play. I had a good time. Didn't really have a hard time. Not the last. It is the first open world game that has held my interest long enough to finish it since ever.
Wow.
I think it's the first open world game I've ever finished.
I love open world games, but okay.
I legitimately
fair
think
enough.
that's actually the case. Wow, holy
There
shit.
you go.
Well, then that's got to say
Personal
something
revelation,
right there.
so
That's got to say
bumps.
something right there.
Does it go up one notch then? Is it
Can't move it now. It's locked
Okay.
in.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
I don't know.
Oh, and then my actual number 8 is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Okay. Did you beat it?
No.
Oh,
So
because that's the best part.
I didn't
That is
get to the best
part.
parts, but I still had a lot of fun with what it was.
Do you know
So
what the
much-
ending is?
No, thankfully it
Okay.
has not been spoiled for me.
Okay.
Just so much of that goofy game is great. The flavor text is amazing. Whoever made that game has the exact same sense of humor I have, and I just want to hang out with them.
Okay. That soundtrack seemed good. I didn't delve into it entirely, but okay. There's a neon bow.
Yeah.
I got that.
And you know it's from the future because it's got neon on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's another very funny game this year for sure. Yes.
Was Community 7 another tie? Did we say
Nope.
that?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Community number 7 is The Last of Us.
Nice.
Okay.
My number 7 is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
All right.
I
Okay.
kind of mentioned it earlier. Yeah, they just, like, I've talked about it a ton on the podcast. The boating stuff is a lot of fun, and I hated the boating stuff in 3. Swinging from one ship to the next and then air assassinating guys is fantastic. They also seem to have kind of made it a lot more obvious kind of which paths you should take when doing the missions, so you could make sure you're going to do some definite badass stuff or not fail as often.
Okay.
The character's fun, and it's just a gorgeous looking game, hanging out in the jungles and whatnot, and tree houses everywhere. I had a ton of fun with Assassin's Creed 4, and I can't wait for the next one now.
Number 7 for me, it's kind of weird to me that it's... Yeah, no, whatever. I know why. Gone Home is number 7 for me.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that on your list, Sean?
Yes, Gone Home for me is number 4.
Ooh.
Okay. I found it like a really incredible singular experience. Like there was nothing else that rewarded exploration quite like that. Just finding the story components in that house felt kind of natural. Even though people have pointed out subsequently that like it's a little weird. These people are leaving that kind of sensitive stuff just out. Like it's like who leaves their diary scattered over the kitchen table essentially. But that didn't bother me while I was playing it. I just found it really kind of intriguing. Just like I want to poke around and look at stuff in games, and that it rewarded that with you actually being able to kind of touch and read everything was kind of awesome. That said, like parts of the core narrative didn't really totally resonate with me, but like some of the side ones did, so I still found the story generally pretty cool. But for me, I think it's just kind of like that thing where it's just like I have to look at it as this is like a one-time, one-shot thing. You can never find it again, which kind of bummed me out in a way. Like I wish there was more stuff like this, but there isn't. So I don't know. It kind of ended up being a little bit of a you can't ever play this story ever again, so I'm kind of a little bitter about that. I don't know why, but yeah. The commentary mode, though, I'm glad they patched that in. I found that pretty intriguing and a cool reason to revisit it. But now I've kind of poured over all that game has. So yeah, that's kind of maybe why it didn't rise after I played it the first time. Very impressive the first time I played it, but now it's kind of just going to sit on this list but not keep going. It's not going to be a thing I play in a couple years or whatever. Like, it's already over. But whatever, Sean.
It's more of an experience type deal.
Yeah, it's like a one... Yeah, definitely made me think about game narratives in a way. that I hadn't in quite a while. So it was still really, really interesting, but it didn't quite rise to the top of my list anyway, like what I look for. But Sean, what was it that you thought about it?
So I really enjoyed going through that house.
Yeah.
Exploring it was great. Playing on the whole horror themes and tricking the player and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worked for me. I was super creeped out, and I wouldn't say I super resonated with a ton of the stories, but there was one specifically that was touching to me. And there was just moments in that game that had my heart pounding. I had pretty ridiculous emotional responses to parts of that game that I was very shocked to see. I don't tend to get that.
Yeah.
And just kind of learning of the stories and whatnot was fun. That's a cool house to explore. It's such a big house. It's more of like a dungeon almost. Like, what kind of house has 100 million rooms? Right.
Well, giant mansion. Like, they do kind of come up with fiction reasons for all of that. But yeah, just incredibly detailed, like really thoughtfully put together.
Yeah.
And,
and there's a lot of really sweet moments that you can come across, like living rooms, finding specific VHS tapes or just music tapes.
Mm-hmm. Like it invests in stuff that a lot of games don't, like just the kind of details that you just don't happen in a lot of stuff. So it was kind of unique in a lot of ways. But yeah.
John, your number 7? 7.
Yeah, my number 7 is Fire Emblem Awakening.
Okay.
I really like tactical strategy games, like turn-based strategy games like Fire Emblem, and this was easily the best Fire Emblem game in a long time. Tons of content. This is your number 3. Nice. Tons of content to it, tons of missions. Everything you do unlocks all these branching paths. You can just street pass other people's armies and fight them whenever you want. You can actually buy other players' characters to put on your team. It's just incredibly creative. They added so much ridiculous content to it. They added DLC to it that if you want to get through the game easier, you can do that, or to make it harder for yourself, give yourself more challenges. Unlocks new classes like the Bride class and everything. It's just a really well put together love letter to Fire Emblem, and it's easily my favorite Fire Emblem game.
Okay. Sean,
I want to say, like, when I was playing this, I played it kind of different than you. I kind of avoided a lot of the new stuff. I didn't grind that often because I'm not used to grinding in Fire Emblem. I didn't do much of the DLC unless it was free. And buying other players, I didn't do that either because I didn't want to play with old players, and I didn't want to I'll just buy the super powerful guy and make it easier because
you can also, I believe, defeat them to earn their character. You don't have to actually buy them.
Right. Yes, I unlocked a lot of the old characters, but I never wanted to use them because it's like, well, I've already played a game with you, and also if they're crazy powerful, I don't want the crazy powerful. I like building my team from the weakest guy to you're the craziest because I just put 40, if not 60 levels of work into you. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a great Fire Emblem game. I didn't play the Wii one. I only played about half of the GameCube one. I didn't care for that one either. I did not finish Shadow Dragon on the DS, but I love tactics strategy games. It's basically chess. It's basically a puzzle almost, and I love puzzle games. I play those games making sure no one ever dies. So
Same here. It's such a headache, though, for doing that. But thankfully, this game does give you the option to not have that enabled if you don't want it.
And that's another thing I ignored. I want that. I want to be able to try it out, and if I die, it's like, okay, well, I see you're challenging me. I will try it again, and I will best this stage. I know I can do it in some way. I just need to find the right combination of moves. And I love doing that. And yeah, so Fire Emblem Awakening is my number 3.
All right, community choice number 6.
All right, number 6 is a tie. It's a tie between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Animal Crossing New Leaf.
2 completely different games. It's great.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah. Well, they're both kind of world simulators.
Yeah, you kind of live in a town, and there's crazy people. And,
you can go. You can go chat with people.
You can go shopping in both games.
That's
so
true.
Kind of.
I think they're the same game.
Like Tom Nook's kind of a kingpin. There's kind of some crime bosses. And,
yeah.
I don't know. Number Oh, yeah. So,
It's
sorry,
Sean.
Sean, your number 6. I was going to jump ahead because I'm...
Right. My number 6 was Tomb Raider.
Oh wow.
Okay.
This is actually, besides Guardian of Light, like this is like the first Tomb Raider I've really put some time into.
Okay.
I like Uncharted a lot, and this game is basically Girl Uncharted, or Uncharted with a girl.
Yep. Which is really great because it used to be described as, oh, it's like Tomb Raider with a dude. But they took it back. They took treasure hunting away from them.
Right. Some of the set pieces are really fun. That game looks fantastic. I just loved kind of like, she doesn't have a hook shot, but kind of ziplining around the area, finding treasures and whatnot. The few short puzzles in the tombs are definitely fun. And it just, like, I used the bow that entire game, and I never do that. I never care about stealth. I never care about, like, snipers. I'm always like, where is the handgun? Where's the machine gun? I want to be able to shoot as much as I can. But I use the bow 100% of the time. I felt like a badass using the bow, and I actually felt like a predator when I was stealthing, and I'm terrible at stealth. And this allowed me to actually be good at stealth. So yeah, I had a ton of fun with that.
Okay. Number 6 for me was Year Walk.
Okay.
That was pretty early in the year, but I think I still wish more people I knew play it so I could like really get into what I found so cool about the story. But the way they use the companion app just kind of ties you, the player, into that world in a way I found like just really creative. Like I was just like, what? Like this just totally went off into a different direction. Like for the most part, it's like kind of weird touch-related puzzles and just kind of this weird mystery and kind of cryptic horror stuff. But then, yeah, that kind of final thing that game did really kind of put it into a really memorable category for me. So, yeah, that game does some really neat stuff. And I've been meaning to play Device 6 more. Like, I got stuck pretty early, so as far as I know, they kind of iterated on some of that cool stuff they stumbled onto at the end of Year Walk already. But, yeah, I don't know. That was the one. That was where I discovered, like, their kind of way of doing storytelling or whatever. So, Samoga, pretty impressive. I guess it's coming to PC at some point too, so more people can finally play it. Because like I was recommending it to people with like Android phones, and they're just like, "Oh, I can't play that." And it's just like, "Oh, that sucks." Like I almost want to like lend you my old iPod or something so you can play it. But yeah, it just stuck with me. It's pretty sweet. John, number 6.
Typing of the Dead Overkill.
That was the surprise as well. So
yeah.
You played House of the Dead Overkill, right? Is it the same content?
I'm a big fan of Overkill. It's the same content of House of the Dead Overkill Director's Cut, so the version that was on the PlayStation 3. So that's with, I think, the 2 extra chapters. But like I love Typing the Dead. I love the previous games in the series. And I love House of the Dead, and I love House of the Dead Overkill. So combining them together and then not telling anyone and suddenly coming out for a cheap price, where they add in DLC where you can just all have like sports content, like all you type are sports words, or Shakespeare lines, or just swear words.
Can't you also like mix those so it's like
so you can have
Shakespeare?
Yeah, exactly. It's just brilliant. I love it.
I have a question though. How do you pick up items? Because I couldn't figure that out.
Tab.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, did I?
Well, you didn't know when we were talking about it, but.
Yeah, no, I was kind of impressed with some of the word combinations they had, even in my brief session with you yesterday. Like, the one that stuck with me was Ringo was best. I was just kind of chuckling while typing it, because it's just like, what?
Like,
why is there like
there's so many weird lines, and there's like, thanks Obama's a line.
Yeah.
The strip club stage, there's just so many weird phrases that come up.
It's pretty humorous use of that whole thing. It's really strange. And I'd never played Overkill, so it's kind of an introduction to like that weird super cursey grindhouse thing they were doing with that game. So
it also reminded me of another game I played earlier this year that I didn't remember in time for the list. It wouldn't have made the list. It would have been an honorable mention though.
Okay.
It's a teaching typing game that came out this year.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's like Winterbottom teaches typing or something like that. I don't know. I'll look it up meanwhile. But yeah, no, Typing of the Dead Overkill, highly recommend it, and it's a good way to also work on your typing while having like a super goofy time.
All right, swinging back around to the top 5. What's the community into?
The top 5 game from our community was Luigi's Mansion: Dark Moon.
Okay.
There you go.
Mine was Super Mario 3D World.
Yep. Mine was Rogue Legacy,
Okay.
which I kind of just took as like, oh, I haven't played a side-scrolling Castlevania game in a while, and like that just kind of fit that so well for me. Like I was just having tons of fun exploring those castles and whatever, and it randomizing things was fun. The humor and like the developer putting their own games in it as kind of like weird bonus, like kind of a museum of their development history was kind of novel. But yeah, I don't know, just like the different weird, funny powers they give all the different generations and building up your castle and stuff. It just totally had me for like I don't know if it was a week or what, but like there was just nights where I was just going back and trying to level up my guys and get more bosses and get more loot and like defeat those bosses and whatever. I haven't done the new game plus stuff. Like I guess there's still more to be had, but that initial rush of just fun jumping around and slashing up weird creatures in a castle was really cool. So I didn't get tired of that music either, which I found surprising. Just how much I was listening to the same tracks over and over. And I guess that ended up being a good podcast game too. Like just put that on and have just listen to stuff, marathoning tons of podcasts and playing Rogue Legacy was when did that come out? When was that in the year? It seemed like it was earlier.
April, I think.
Okay, so yeah, it was a while ago, but it's still that was a good time. Did that not show up on anybody else's? That no one was.
I haven't played it.
No,
Okay.
I played it, but I didn't put it on my list.
Okay.
Sean, what was your number 5 again?
That was Super Mario 3D World.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we talked about it earlier.
Before I say what my 5 is, the game I was thinking of is Icarus Proudbottom Teaches Typing. I highly recommend you play that because it is definitely not what you expect it to be.
I
Okay.
don't even know what that is.
It's a flash game. So
Okay.
my number 5, and I don't think anyone saw this coming, Towerfall for the Ouya.
Oh, did you actually
Nice.
get to play a lot of it, or?
Yeah, I played a ton of it back at PAX Prime, and that game is amazing. This is one of the few games I'm actually waiting for to come out on Steam next year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
no,
anticipating this game coming out on Steam.
I guess the only thing that's kind of been a stick in the mud, like, like made me a stick in the mud about that kind of thing is just like you need to have a group of friends to play it with
Yeah.
to make it work, right? So I'm just kind of like anticipating this sad scenario where it's like you have this really cool game, but like you never get to play it because that never happens. You know, like when are you going to run into 4 people with controllers? Maybe you will, like the way you kind of invite people over to your place and play video games or whatever. I don't know if I will ever get anything out of that game. Same with Samurai Gun. Like they seem like peas in a pod of like cool games I won't play ever, which is kind of sad.
No, I highly recommend if you get to play it though. For those who don't know what Towerfall is, it's basically imagine an arena combat game, or let's just say Smash Bros, but with bows and arrows, and like you can dodge, catch arrows. It is a fast-paced, frantic, 2D platforming archery deathmatch game.
Yeah,
With like crazy powers, like the game like moves around a bunch. It's so good. I just can't even put it into words.
and
If
it's
you-
definitely
if you
going
get into-
to more platforms next year, right? Like PlayStation.
Yeah, it will be going to Steam and PlayStation 4 next year.
Yeah.
So, but it's like being called like Towerfall Ascension. So don't be surprised if Towerfall Ascension gets mentioned some point next year.
Yeah. It's kind of the only thing people are talking about on Ouya, but like, yeah. No, playing at conventions was like totally awesome. Like you could there was never not a crowd around that game, but I don't know. Maybe there just needs to be like a Calgary Towerfall League, and then I can go to that, and it'll be great. But it doesn't exist yet, so yeah. What's number 4?
Community's
Number 4. Now this is where the votes skyrocketed. So lots of people liked the top 4. Number 4 for the community was Super Mario 3D World.
There you go.
So
By
that's 2
almost
Nintendo
twice as
games
many
in a row.
points as Luigi had. So
So
Weird,
everyone likes
okay.
Mario more than Luigi. Got it.
in the year
That's
of
rough.
Luigi.
In the year of Luigi, Mario is king.
He's in that game though.
To be fair,
To be
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, he's not fun to play as, but yeah, he's in that game.
Well, okay.
My number 4 was Gone Home, as we talked about.
Yeah. My number 4 is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Again,
Nice.
good.
That's really, yeah, I really liked it. And like I do want to play it again on New Game Plus, which is I have not done that in a Zelda game in a long time. But yeah, no, I found just how fast that game was compared to other Zelda games really cool. Like, it's just like do you know what you're doing? Yeah, okay, well here's some stuff. Go get going, get adventuring. Like it just seemed like there was no fat on the front end of that. Though there was still a little bit, but not that much. Like I started another game again, and like you do have to go to the temple and bad stuff happens and whatever before they really let you start running, but relatively speaking, that is a fast-paced Zelda game, and that was kind of sweet. And I don't know, I kind of like the painting stuff, the finding heart pieces, the Mai-Mais, all that stuff. Just I was totally cool doing all that stuff. And the 3D, this first time that has been a major asset for a game for me. So that was kind of made the 3DS make sense in a lot of ways. I was
That
really,
part of like the mountain where you're falling on so many different things
like dropping down onto different platforms kind of
while
thing.
they're all moving and stuff. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that area. Oh man.
I died
There's-
so many times there.
And then
I
the,
did too.
the dungeon where you basically you're doing that same thing but going still going down.
Yeah.
And just like transparent floors, so you just kind of see how stacked up these dungeons are. Like there's some pretty cool stuff in there. And I don't know, I kind of liked how it dealt with the two dimensions. Like the story actually had a moment or two where I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's a cool little reveal you just did right there in this Zelda story. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no,
So-
I'll give them that. Although they hint to, I believe, the same thing you're pointing at earlier in the game.
Probably, maybe, if it's a thing, but I don't know. Yeah, that game was really slick, so I liked it a lot. I'm gonna play it some more eventually. Moving down the line.
All right, number 4.
Yep.
Number 4 for me is Dive Kick.
All right.
Honestly, just a really fun game that is surprisingly more deep than people expect it to be on original look.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some incredibly heated matches in Dive Kick that have been incredibly fun to play. So,
Who's better, dive or kick?
actually, I believe Kick is technically better.
Okay.
One of his supers is technically better than Dive's.
Oh, just like this is objective. This isn't even who do you think is cooler.
Based on the Kick also just constantly quotes Will Smith. So.
Oh, okay. Did you play online a lot? Like, are you
Yeah.
still okay? Like again, this seemed like to me like a game that really thrives on local multiplayer. But I guess if you
I played it as
charge out of it.
recently as last week.
Okay. There you go.
No,
Dive
I find it fun. If you're into fighting games, you'll definitely love Dive Kick, and if you're not, it's actually a fun, easy game to get into.
Pretty
I definitely wanted
accessible.
to be playing it.
Hmm?
I definitely wanted to try playing it for sure.
Yeah, no, I recommend it. I recommend mainly for the multiplayer though. I've not tried the single player, and I've heard it's not the best. So.
I started going down that path, and yeah, I guess it's kind of neat they threw it in there, but it's kind of tedious. Like just you're pressing X through a lot of just dialogue, like just characters, text popping on the screen, and it's not. It's kind of just tedious. I don't know. The multiplayer is that game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Community vote number 3.
Top 3.
Community vote number 3 was Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Nice.
I like that game too.
Yep. And my number 3 was still Fire Emblem Awakening.
Okay.
Do we know all of yours except for your number 1, don't we?
I don't think you know my number 2.
I thought
We know your number 2.
Oh, that's right.
John.
I thought we said your number 2, Sean. Sorry.
I don't think so. My number 3 is maybe a little debatable, but hey, you guys ever played this game called Spelunky?
Oh my God. You know what? I will say one thing. A bunch of people thought it was gonna be your number 1, so there you go.
Okay.
Shake up.
It kind of almost was for a little bit, but then I had a recent revelation that like anytime you're playing and you don't have a jetpack isn't as fun as when you do have a jetpack. So
Oh
they
wait,
kinda
did
screwed up.
Spelunky come out this year?
It came out on PC
version did.
and Vita this year.
Remember, Daily Challenges DLC is the winner of Nathan's list.
That's kind of the reason it kind of makes that game more of a competition. Like I kind of care more about how I'm doing personally as a Spelunky player, whereas before it's just like whatever, the game just is evil and that's why I died that time.
So you're
It's like, no,
saying
dude.
the entry is the Daily Challenge DLC is number 3?
Sure. I mean, you got Citadel, I got Daily Challenge DLC for Spelunky. Why not? Same thing. It's more of a patch, really, but it's a cool mode that kind of makes the community have something to focus on and be like, no, dude, this guy's better at Spelunky than you because he actually beat it with the exact same run. So you need to step up. And it's like, oh, shit. So, yeah, I don't know. It's it's cool. I got way into that game this year, more so than I did last year. I think it was number 5 on my list last year. That was the XBLA version. So maybe next year, number 1. What do you got, Derek? You patch it one more time. Impress me. 2014. Year of the Splunky. It could happen. I don't know. That game's cool. Super Meat Boy's in it. I didn't know that until recently. I found him. He's in a weird monster that I also didn't know was in that game.
He's
full of
inside
mysteries.
of a monster?
Yeah, there's a weird creature in the jungle stage that you can get eaten by, and then there's a level in there. It's
Weird.
awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in that game. Hell, I have to go there. That's still a thing that's dogging me. But
You can
yeah,
do
number
it,
3.
Nathan. You can go to hell, Nathan. Good job.
Thanks. Did we, John? Number 3?
Number
Did
3,
we
the
say it?
Stanley Parable.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the Stanley Parable. That game, I found myself, I played it nonstop. I think I got like 10 endings just in my first sitting because I was just having so much fun finding out what different things I could do, how to break the game as much as I can. But the brilliant thing about the game is that the game is designed to make you think you're breaking it, but it's actually what they wanted you to do in the first place.
Like there's content there to kind of acknowledge that
Yeah.
stuff. It's kind of cool.
There is literally an ending where if you try to open up the console and hack the game will give you an ending because you tried to do that.
Yeah,
It
but they definitely
recognizes
kind of
that you're
thought
doing
of all
this.
scenarios and stuff.
There are points where you can clip through the walls, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we knew you were going to try that, so here's your ending for this." It's so clever. I just love it, and the narrator's fantastic. The writing is amazing. Just the dialogue alone of just sitting in the broom closet, the entire spiel is just so good.
That one's pretty good. Yeah.
The writing is so sharp. Highly recommend it, and it's fairly cheap too. So highly recommend Stanley Parable.
There's got to be tons of stuff I haven't seen in that then, because some of the things people have been describing, like in the Game of the Year discussions of late, has just been like that. I didn't see that. I thought I saw it. Okay, but yeah, no, it's definitely pretty cool. Didn't make my. I probably should have put that on honorable mentions or something.
I thought you did. Who or was it Sean who had an honorable mention?
I had it on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean.
I did play the mod a while ago, so maybe it just kind of didn't like surprise the same way. The demo's great though. That was actually a great part of that game. That some of my favorite jokes around Stanley Parable are actually in the demo, not in the actual game. So that was a fun surprise. 8. That was great.
I think 8 is in the game somewhere though.
Oh, weird.
No, there's an achievement for 8, but it's actually for just typing 8 on the keypad in the office.
Oh, weird. Okay.
I don't. It's not the same as the 8 button that just says 8 when you press it.
I thought that was really funny. Like, I just losing it. See, because like I was expecting the PAX demo stuff, because I was like, oh, did they just repackage this and put it? And it's like, no, there's actually a different thing. So there's exclusive content all around. It's weird, but yeah, no, Stanley Parable's pretty sweet. Number 2, we're at the final 2.
Final 2. Now, when we were for community, when we were adding up the votes, number 2 and 1, like back to back, the
Just
whole
switching.
way through.
We'd add up someone's scores. Yeah.
Yeah, and another huge jump in votes. So these 2 games are easily the community's top choices, but by just a few points, number 2 is Pokemon X and Pokemon Y.
So technically, it's a tie for second.
Yes, there's
I
3
guess.
games.
Exactly. Ooh.
My number 2, which I don't think we know, but it's The Last of Us.
Okay.
I thought that it got mentioned earlier. Sorry.
I mentioned it earlier, but that's not related. So okay, Last of Us. What did you like about it?
I love the story. I love the characters. The facial capture in that is fantastic. Just being able to see their emotions on their face, like it was perfect. It matched everything. That's a very cool world to be in. You mentioned earlier zombies. Am I still into zombies? Well, clearly, Naughty Dog knows how to make me interested in zombies. I love the ending of that game and the beginning of that game. It has one of the best intros. We almost had a best intro category because of that game and Saints Row 4.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I love how the ending kind of mimics a lot of what happened in the beginning part. A lot of callbacks. I think it plays very nicely. It leads you properly. Like I never felt lost for the most part. And there's a ton of similar to your State of Decay thing, you can't go in every room, but almost every room you go into, it's a completely there's they modeled so much. They filled that world with so many interesting little tidbits.
There is a lot of environment detail, yeah. I think it was like pretty like during kind of the period when everyone was playing it, so people were like looking at toilet paper rolls in the house, just be like, this person put this on wrong. It's just like that's just weird that there is that level of micro detail. Like I think it was in the hotel. I was pretty impressed by some of that stuff.
Right, and it was another game that actually made me feel like a badass for using stealth. Like when I could get through an area where I was not seen, that was awesome, and I felt like this like the best player. And like I've heard it before. Like the Bombcast mentioned it. Like you kind of go into a house in that game, and you just based on like what is in the house and how damaged it is or how things are damaged, you can kind of tell the story of how that family like was attacked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, and yeah, just that ending, like that's an incredible ending. I'm gonna remember The Last of Us for a long time, and that's why it's my second best game of the year.
Isn't there impending DLC? Like,
yeah, I think
soon?
it comes out January.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
It takes place beforehand with Ellie. You play as Ellie.
Okay.
And yeah, that whole winter scenario is fantastic. Like it's so good. And the giraffes, oh, there's so many great moments in that game.
I don't know what to like. Yeah. Okay. Did you play the multiplayer at all? I guess I'm just gonna throw another little question in there.
I did not.
Okay. I played that, and that was kind of cool too. But whatever. It takes advantage of the combat in some neat ways. But okay. My number 2. The top 2 spots were kind of switching a bit with me. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it, and then it'll be official, and we'll whatever. Number 2 ended up being Papers, Please.
Nice.
Okay.
Which I found really cool in that kind of, like, you know, last year I got way into Cart Life, like that same kind of like turning real life tedium into somehow interesting gameplay mechanics I was really impressed by. But I liked how here like the mechanics and the story just kind of felt really natural. Like story stuff would happen and you're kind of still in your role. Like you still have to just perform your job, but you're kind of wrestling with like the weird tension between these countries and all this. Like it kind of unfolds really naturally. My only issue with that, I guess, is like there's like 20 endings in that game, which is kind of on its face great because there's so much content to see. But I'm at a point now where like I'm kind of just treating it like a puzzle where I'm just trying to find where is the next branch to where I can see new stuff instead of the old stuff again. And it's kind of making me go through a lot of just tedium for the sake of tedium now. It's like, I've already done this tedium. Can I be rewarded with new content yet? I don't know. It's kind of, that was kind of the thing that was kind of keeping me from going back to it again, because there's more I want to see, but it's hard for me to get at that stuff and not in a way that's compelling anymore. I don't know. But the initial rush of like figuring out how that game works and like sorting your documents and kind of meeting all these characters and kind of the thought processes that started about thinking about Border Patrol guards and just kind of like the way people treat others in their job and all this. Like it was a very thoughtful, like thought-provoking game, and I was really impressed by it, especially like with its kind of simple style. Like it's primarily made by one dude, Lucas Pope, and he's done some really impressive stuff there. And the music and everything is like really appropriate and fits and everything. It's got a lot of personality and style, and yeah, I thought it was really, really, really compelling. But just that kind of, there's more I'd like to see, but it's not helping me see that stuff kind of tainted a little bit. So that's why it's not at the very top. But yeah, I really liked it. Did either of you guys end up looking at it much or not really?
I picked it up on the Steam sale the other day, but I have not played it yet.
I've actually been playing it this week a few times. I just haven't played enough of it.
Okay. I found it really cool, but yeah. There you go. Number 2. We talked about Saints Row, right?
Yeah, Saints Row 4 was my number 2, and I'll just reiterate, the DLC in that game also pretty good. The Christmas DLC, really funny.
How's the Dominatrix DLC?
Haven't tried it yet, but I've been told there's Velociraptors in it, so I kind of want to check it out just based on that.
Do they?
I mean, I got the season pass, so.
This time, do they roll that stuff into the main game, or no?
Yeah, well, sort of. Basically, you get to a certain point in the main game where it unlocks, and then you can just play it whenever you want.
But like, you know, there's Velociraptors. are they in the main game then? After
Oh,
that, I think?
well, let me put it this way: all the stuff I unlocked in the Christmas DLC, I can now use in the main game whenever I want.
Okay, cool. Like I was just under the impression with Saints Row the Third, they had like fireballs and like pandas and all this weird stuff that you could only use in the DLC. So it was kind of lame that you
I
can't
can
just bring that in.
I can fly around Steelport on a rocket robot reindeer and shoot Christmas music out of my dubstep gun.
All right, good. They did it. Finally.
So there you go.
Yeah. So this is it. Number one.
Number one for the community.
Favoriteest game of 2013.
It's what you guys voted for and barely won over the previous game.
The community game of the year for 2013 was Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what? Wait, what are all top 5 Nintendo?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
number 6 is tied with a Nintendo game.
Okay. So
In fact, if we include ties, every section except for 7 has a Nintendo game in it.
okay. So top-down perspective listeners love Nintendo. That's
So
great.
that
That's fine.
means like 12 of the games out of the 12 of the games, 9 were Nintendo.
They're good at making games. What can we say?
Something like that, yeah.
They've been doing it for a long time. Good video games. My microphone's on a Hyrule Historia right now. You can't see that. Oh, here. There you go. See? Nintendo. Right there. Anyway. They're everywhere.
All right, my game of the year, I've brought it up many times,
Yep.
is Game and Wario.
Yep, had a feeling.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. No one likes that game as much as you do.
Apparently.
It's
Apparently.
fun. I just... All right.
Same, I enjoyed it, but not like to that extent.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hot seeded the entire, like every minigame of that thing, like 2 separate times. So I just went through like in one sitting every minigame like about three times, 3 or 4 times. I think it's really funny. I think it's the best use of the Wii U's gamepad versus the TV that the Wii U has.
Mm-hmm.
That Fruit multiplayer game is great, and those the little unlockable extras, the bonus content, they're hilarious. Even the credits are funny and weird.
Okay.
That developer is great. Like I love everything that specific developer does. You know, Rhythm Heaven's great as well. So yeah, Game & Wario, I just enjoyed so much, and it was a budget game on top of that.
Did you ever get way into WarioWare or no? Because like
I like WarioWare. I wouldn't say I got way into it, but I've played the PS one a bunch as well as the Wii one.
okay, just like that's kind of like I've been getting that kind of energy from that team for a long time. Like I guess this one just didn't blow my mind in a way. It was just like, yeah, this is weird and strange in the way those guys do, but okay, like there's some inspired stuff in there. Maybe I just haven't looked. Like, have you seen like the drawing thing? Like I watched the Giant Bomb quick look of it recently, and I never saw this feature. It's like you basically are playing Draw Something with the Miiverse, so you just draw a picture and then put it on there, and then there's just giant collections of just weird stuff Nintendo fans are drawing. Like again, just weird use of Miiverse, but that game has that. I don't know. Did you?
I didn't know about that. I haven't done
Okay.
like Miiverse with any Wii U game.
Okay. I don't know. There's some definitely really weird stuff in that. I like the one with 9-volt and the mom
Gamer?
that stuff.
That one's really good. That's one of the gems of single player.
Some of the most intense, scary gameplay that the Wii U has done. Like it's just like looking up and like the weird kind of juggling your attention between the things. Like that's kind of realizing some of the stuff I thought that console could do really well. With like you're distracted with one thing, but then something scary is happening. That game does that, and it's awesome. So. I respect your choice. It's just really, I just did not go that far with that game, but maybe I'll play it again, see what the magic's going on. My number one ended up being probably, any guesses? Do you guys want to?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. I almost feel bad about it at this point. People have been ragging on that game a lot, and it's just like, I really liked it. I thought they did a lot of clever stuff with the writing. I thought they acknowledged all of the kind of dissonance problems they had in GTA 4. They just kind of gave you a character for each potential psychosis.
It was community choice number 6 game of the year.
Yeah,
You're
tied with
right.
Animal Crossing, which means Animal Crossing is also your game of the year.
Okay.
That's how that
No,
works,
what?
right? That's how that works.
Oh yeah, I guess so. What? It was on my honorable mentions, but I don't know. No game just kind of like stopped everything the way GTA 5 did. Like it was just like I need to play this, paid my $60, and then just played that until they're like just wrung it dry. Like there was just nothing. And then online came out and was not great, but I don't feel that diminishes from the core
I thought it got
campaign.
better. Like, it wasn't just really garbage the first couple weeks.
I only really played it the first couple of weeks, so maybe I
Oh, well
have a
then there you
kind of
go.
this tainted perception of that. But that wasn't the thing I was there for anyway. I thought the core campaign, the way they deal with like I thought Trevor was just a really clever character. Like they're just like if players want to be just like total psychotic idiots, we're gonna actually write to that and make this character as insane as anyone could possibly be with the gameplay in that game, and it kind of is amazing. The soundtrack, just the volume of cool stuff in there, the original stuff, the licensed stuff, like well specifically, what is what's that radio station? Whatever. There's like a couple radio stations I really took a shining to. There's some drawbacks. Like I didn't think Franklin was as interesting as character as they could have made him. I found the story kind of restrains your ability to kind of impact it in some ways. It's just like this like villain character effectively only exists in cutscenes, so you can't kill him until a certain point in the story. Like that kind of stuff made me just kind of mad, but I think maybe that was intentional, kind of make me hate the villains and whatnot in the storyline. But yeah, I just found that game incredibly compelling. I did a bunch of the weird side stuff. I thought the marathon was really weird. Like just like an actual me sitting, holding up and tapping X for half an hour was just like they got me to do that, and I thought it was kind of inventive. So I don't know that nobody does it as big and splashy and ridiculous as Rockstar. Like you could say they basically bought the top spot with like $250 million of budget, but that game looks insane. So I'll probably play it again if it comes to PC. Like it is just a thoroughly like lavish crime simulator. So I don't know. I was floored by it. It was really really cool. Yeah, there you go. Number one, John. You get
All
the
right.
last one.
I'm actually surprised this game ended up becoming my number one. I really didn't think it was going to be the case, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought it deserved it. My number one is Payday 2.
I just started playing that, and it's pretty sweet. But I don't. How many hours have you done? Like what? How many heists are you doing?
30 plus, I think, at this point.
Okay. Um, elaborate. Like I'm initially intrigued by Payday 2, but I want to hear a veteran's thoughts. Like what is it with Payday 2?
Payday
Take the
2
top spot.
is a game that can be as intense as you want or as calm as you want. But when it gets intense, it is incredibly intense. I was streaming it last night on my channel, and we had a train heist going on for about 30 minutes where people kept dying left and right, and we had to keep like playing incredibly safe to try to get through. And then after this 32-minute heist, we got to the very end, and then we lost by like 2 footsteps.
Oh man. Okay.
So then we ended up doing it again, and we knocked it out in like 15 and did it correctly. But like it's just this game where like things you think will be like perfectly sensible will suddenly just change on the fly for you. You just never always know what to expect. Certain things will be the same, but there will always be these little tiny things that'll change and just mess you up. There's a lot of variety in the different heists you can have, even though there are a couple different locations you can go to. Like some of the places are repeated.
Mm-hmm.
The music, the soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. Simon Viklund, the guy who did the Bionic Commando Rearm soundtrack, did almost the entire thing. He keeps adding new tracks every couple of months. All good stuff.
It seems that game is pretty well supported. Like they gave free like Christmas DLC to the community and stuff. Like the Go map's pretty recent, right?
Yeah, that got added last week.
Okay. So yeah, they're definitely being really supportive of their community and stuff. And like, I mean, I've only put like 4 or 5 hours into it, but it was definitely kind of bringing back my initial love of Left 4 Dead. Like the first time I played that, like that co-op experience of just kind of like, oh, I barely made it. Like get to the van. All this kind of like that gameplay tense scenarios like is pretty sweet. And I like the framework of it a lot. Like just like it is Heat or something. It's just dudes robbing stuff. And you get your own stash, and you can buy upgrades, and the upgrades seem meaningful. Like that was kind of like I finally bought a scope for my gun, and it actually feels like that wants me to play it again because that'll impact how well I can do in the heist and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Are you just joining random games? Or are you playing solo, or what are you doing?
I've been joining random games. So
Okay,
that has
I have a bunch of people I usually roll with when I play the game, and
okay.
that's where I think the real fun is. Like, traditionally it was just me and a friend always going in games together, but then I
Hmm.
was having so much fun playing the game, I thought I'd try just going solo or just going with random puppies and stuff like that. And I'm still like enjoying it. It's a game that I always look forward to playing, and it's probably gonna be one of those games, probably the only game on this list that I'll still be playing a ton of in the new year.
Okay.
I've also
Um,
been told, and I don't know if this is entirely true, apparently the 360 and PS3 versions not as good as the PC version. Apparently the PC version gets updated consistently. The other console versions not so much.
it's
So
kind of the nature of the platform, right?
if you
So
are thinking of getting Payday 2, please go PC if you can.
I mean, it's been on sale recently a lot.
It is part of the major winter sale. It is like
And the
what it's
soundtrack was on Steam as well, half off. So I got that. It
yeah.
was like $3 or something. So yeah.
The soundtrack is really good, yeah.
Sweet. Payday 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Like I guess fine. Like sorry, just like Monaco, does communication with your squad kind of really help that?
Helps a ton.
Okay. Because
'Cause
like
you
I've
can just plan
had.
out things like, and this is one thing I like about the game is too. You can either completely stealth every mission or close to every mission, or you can
Mhm.
just run and gun it. So it like however you want to mix up your play style, you can do that, and I think that's just the sign of a well-developed game. That still has problems, like certain missions will always crash my game, or I should say one in particular.
Okay.
But I don't know. There's just hasn't been a game in this long of a time that has kept my interest so much, and especially a multiplayer game like Payday 2 has. So it's my game of the year.
Okay.
Cool, cool. That's all of our game of the years.
Isn't this the first year where all of our number ones like no one had on their list?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Payday
Yeah.
2 was not on my list, but I like it. GTA
GTA 5 was
5.
on no one's list, and
Game and
even
Warrior.
Wario wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this year has been like so much variety that yeah, there's been very little correlation on a lot of lists I've been seeing. A lot of people seem to like Zelda. That seems to be like one that's universally reasonably well liked, but it didn't show up on your guys' list, right? It was. Oh wait, wasn't it low on some of them or honorable mention or something?
What, Zelda?
Yeah.
Zelda was honorable mention for me. It was like
Okay.
it would have been like 12 or 13.
Okay.
I've been seeing Assassin's Creed getting a lot of praise.
Like it's generally well liked by a lot of people, kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah, but no, it's been a weird year. A lot of good stuff, but no one beacon that has kind of shone brighter than for some people. Last of Us is popping up a lot too, and I don't
Yeah.
dislike it. It just barely missed the cut, and John hasn't been able to finish
I
it
haven't
yet.
played far enough on it yet. I'm apparently only a fifth through the game.
So I guess no consensus this year. There's
No,
no.
we only had
top-down
the
perspective.
1 year where we had Ghost Trick. That's apparently going to be the only consensus game we've ever had.
Yeah, maybe
So
next time.
We have a final area, a section of stuff to go through.
I realized
kinda
something
looking
first
ahead.
before we jump. Nathan, you said Zelda, like a Nintendo game was like your number 3, or what was your highest Nintendo game?
Zelda was number 4 for me.
Okay, Sean's was number 1, and mine was number 7. I
Which
had the
is
lowest
crazy.
ranking Nintendo game.
That's insane to me.
But Nintendo had a pretty sweet year, I thought, on the
Yeah.
software front.
Yeah, they had a
Like,
lot of good games. I think most of my honorable mentions are Nintendo now that I think about it.
Yeah, and the community obviously loved a lot of that stuff. Like I haven't played a Fire Emblem game in a long time, but people have been like just saying glowing things about that one. So I'm just kind of like, oh, did I miss something? Like I played a GBA one and just found it like pretty intense. Like losing characters just kind of bummed me out. Like I was just like, oh man, I'm just bad at this, and kind of shied away from it. But maybe I should take another crack at it with this one. It sounds like it's all coming together pretty well. But okay.
And they've got that easy mode if you don't like the permadeath. But
Exactly.
That's Fire Emblem though.
But that's kind of betraying yeah, like that seems kind of against that game's unique thing. So, well, not unique, but a major asset of that game. But okay, yeah, sorry. The last category, I wasn't sure what to call it. I said 2014 stuff I'm interested in.
Right.
That's what
Before we
call
go
it.
into what we're looking forward to,
Oh yeah.
we should revisit what we predicted last year.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay.
So I wrote down everything we put. They're primarily games we were looking forward to. Sometimes we talked a little bit more about if we thought it would be good or if we thought it'd be a failure. And then there was some more industry-related stuff.
Okay.
And I think we're kind of like 50-50 on whether if we were correct or not. here's the question though. Paul was on last year. I have his as well. Should I announce those or just ignore them?
I'd say Sam.
Say them?
I'm interested. I will. Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay, so the games that I was looking forward to
Okay.
was Professor Layton and the Generation A, or I guess now it's called Azran Legacy, which that got pushed a year. I also incorporated the new Phoenix Wright and Layton game, hoping that would be good. That's still not out.
Yeah.
I thought Last of Us was going to be good. Turned out that was correct.
Number 2. So
I was excited for Wonderful 101. That was kind of whatever.
Well, you put it on your mention list, so it was
right.
pretty good. But okay.
I was also excited for Fire Emblem Awakening. Which that turned out nicely. I also mentioned that I did not care for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance when that came up, which I don't know if that's entirely true. I enjoyed that game. And then there was 2 things that I kind of talked about for hardware. Was I had assumed there would be a Vita, like a 3DS-sized price drop for the Vita, which John completely disagreed with.
Okay.
Yeah. Then John said, well, unless it's just before Black Friday. So he kind of totally copped out.
And was I right?
Well, I'm trying to think. I don't think they got a huge price drop.
There was, I think, no. What happened was the 3G version got dropped down to the same price as the Wi-Fi version.
Like,
instead the Vita TV got announced.
And that's like significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
So the way I kind of think is I think it did lower in price, but the 3DS was more of like a huge announcement, and the Vita clearly did not get a huge announcement.
Like an admission of failure kind of thing.
A
where
bit,
it's like,
yeah.
We
I would
totally
say I was
people's
wrong
interest in
with that
this.
one.
Okay.
And then the last thing that I mentioned was that I assumed that the next Xbox and the PS4 will have some form of account locking for software, similar to a PC, in order to fight used games. Which I was wrong on PS4, the whole thing. I was correct with Xbox One until they switched it. So I ended up being wrong with that one too.
Weird. So it's like Microsoft was going down that path, and then they got yelled at, and it stopped happening. So you were close, almost.
Right.
But oh well, that's too bad.
Okay, now I have Nathan's list.
Oh no. Okay.
Nathan predicted that The Last Guardian would be bad.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's still not a thing, so it's nothing yet. But okay.
Nathan was then looking forward to GTA 5.
Hey, number 1.
Yeah.
That worked
Hotline
out.
Miami 2.
I have that on my 2014 list now. So that
Gone
didn't...
Home.
Okay. Hey, that worked out.
Pikmin 3.
I don't know yet.
And Star Wars 1313.
Which got canceled.
Yeah.
And then Nathan made some pretty interesting claims.
Uh-oh.
He announced that Steam will change everything.
What? How?
The haptic controller. The Steam OS.
He then added that Microsoft and Sony are going to fail with their new consoles, and Steam and the Ouya will sweep in and take it.
What?
So I was almost right.
What were you on?
He then added that Google and Android will figure it out, and the Ouya will be a success.
Aww.
Damn, Nathan. Damn.
I kind of wish... Dude, the Ouya could have been sweet. Towerfall came up on this very podcast, so who was wrong? Yeah, alright. Steam OS and the haptic thing, though, Steam's doing cool stuff.
They're barely out yet, though. I would not class... I think you're wrong.
They hit a peak usage number this year, too. Like
I don't think they've changed everything. I would think you're wrong with that prediction for 2013.
Okay.
You could double down on it if you wanted to.
On Steam changing everything?
Or on Ouya being a success.
I'm gonna admit total complete whiffing it with the Ouya. Like I believed in a lie and it didn't pan out, and that's sad. But I don't know. Steam I still think is poised to do just game changing stuff over the next few years. So I don't know. I'm gonna sort of stand by that. in a way. Say Steam's still going to be a major part of gaming's future.
Okay, hang on, because I'm gonna write these down. So one of your predictions is
Double or nothing on Steam.
Steam is gonna change everything.
Yeah.
Are you keeping the part where Sony and Microsoft are going to fail?
I'm trying to think what I mean. Like,
I think it was specific to the new consoles.
Like, what I constitute a failure. Like, okay. I maybe I'll venture the thing that, like, Xbox One will not match number of hardware units out there as the 360 in its lifetime. I will say that. I don't know what to venture on PS4. Like, I do really like what they're doing with Plus, and they're doing some really clever stuff with, like, kind of giving me a library of PS4 games that will eventually inevitably lead to me getting a PS4.
Well, before you do all your predictions, let's finish up the last year's.
Okay.
All right, John, here's your list.
Here we go.
John was excited for Devil May Cry,
which
was coming out in like 2 weeks after we were recording.
Yeah.
He then was cautiously excited for Grand Theft Auto 5, but he was like, I think it's going to be the same as GTA 4. And is it even going to be able to compete with Saints Row the Third?
The third, specifically.
Did I actually say the third?
Yeah, you thought it was going to go in a more jokey way like Saints Row the Third.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought it would be a more humor-based type thing, but no, GTA is trying to keep its own separate thing where it just keeps it serious with like a little bit of lightheartedness instead of Saint Row just being like, let's just do something stupid.
Sure. I mean, it's a bit lighter than 4 was, but it is still in that kind of serious crime vein, so okay. Trevor's pretty crazy, though, but not in the same way.
You were also excited for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Mm-hmm.
You were excited for Gears of War Judgment. You thought it was going to be great, but maybe not as good as Gears of War 3.
Which ended up actually being the case, from what everyone's told me.
You then claimed that Bioshock Infinite will be a doomed product.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was having major problems. Don't you remember all the issues that the game was having last year?
I just remember that it was a lot of fun this year.
Well, no, yeah, it was delayed, and they stopped bringing it to trade shows.
They lost didn't they lose the lead developer on it too?
Ken Levine was still there, but I'm trying to think.
They lost like a bunch of like senior staff on that project. A lot of people thought it was going to end up kind of having issues when it came out.
In the end, I think you were wrong.
Well, yeah, no, because it made a bunch of Game of the Year lists, so...
How well did it sell, though? I kind of felt the conversation on Bioshock Infinite changed pretty quickly. Like, it was like, oh, man, this is amazing. And then, like, 3 months later, everyone was kind of over it. Like, it just kind of stopped. I mean, it's shown up on some lists, but it, like, did Last of Us steal its thunder or something? Like, that became the Troy Baker game of choice or something? Like, it was like,
yeah, maybe.
Oh, the one where you're hanging out with the lady the whole game, and Last of Us, that was the best one of those. And you're just like, oh, okay. I guess so, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how well it sold. I don't remember, but it did well. So yeah, okay. I guess John was wrong. Sorry.
Then John said there will be a new Mario Kart for the Wii U.
Confirm that one.
Well, they announced one.
Yeah. I didn't say it would be out. I just say there would be a new Mario Kart.
He said,
good call.
There'll be another party game from Nintendo. So
and
you really
that was
really
risked you.
Yeah, you really went out on a limb on that prediction.
Yeah.
Island Tour.
Oh, that too, but that's 3DS. I said Wii U, so I meant Wii Party U.
Specifically brought up Game & Wario as well. Which, if, like, I think you said, like, I think they're working on another WarioWare or something. Anyway, you were also looking forward to Pikmin 3.
Mm-hmm.
You said the Steam box is going to be huge.
Well, it still hasn't come out yet, technically, so it still has potential.
That's what I was saying. Steam's going to change it.
You were also excited for Watch Dogs.
Yep, and then that got bumped.
And then your last prediction...
Here we go.
...was only one of the 2 new consoles are going to be coming out this year, and it's the PlayStation.
Well, to be fair, PlayStation did come out first.
You said PlayStation would be first, and Xbox will not come out in 2013.
I didn't think they were going to pull it off, but they did.
Wait. Isn't that sort of true about number of territories? Like, didn't PS4 launch in more territories?
You're right. Xbox is only in like 9 territories.
Xbox is in more than PS4, isn't it?
What?
I
No.
thought Xbox was in more than PS4.
No, I don't believe so.
No?
I'm pretty sure it's
You
Xbox
cannot
One.
say it's not out. It is out.
It's true, but like maybe he was speaking from the point of view of someone
I
in
wasn't.
Japan.
I wasn't.
Okay, okay.
Let's be blunt. I wasn't.
Or a Brazilian. Or
Yeah,
something.
and I have Paul's list. Paul, he just put out games he was looking forward to. It was
Okay.
Devil May Cry, Bayonetta 2, which John, you piggybacked on a bit.
That's not out yet.
Paul said that Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be bad.
Jerk. No.
He was excited for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. He said Bioshock Infinite will be okay, but get way more praise than it deserves.
You know, maybe he was right.
I don't think that's true.
I know he feels that way still, so.
It's on his top 10 of the year.
Oh no, but I talked to, he had it in his PlayStation yesterday and asked him about it. He's like, it's fine. But yeah, I think he might feel that way. Specifically in relation to like a 90-page thread we were looking at analyzing the ending. Like people talk about that game in weird ways that I don't know if it warrants, but okay.
He was also excited for Gears of War Judgment, Rise of the Triad, and Metro Last Light.
I don't think he's played Last Light yet, but okay. Rise of the Triad, did that remake come out? Did that happen?
Yeah, I believe that's actually out.
Okay.
I believe so, yes.
Huh. That didn't make a splash apparently.
I'm already looking it up. Don't worry.
I know Shadow Warrior did, but
Yeah, Rise of the Triad 2013 video game.
huh.
Okay, so I think we should make some new predictions for next year.
Released July 31st.
Games we think are going to be good, games we think are going to be bad, and then, some more industry stuff.
Okay.
So let's go in a circle. I'll go first again. I'm double downing on Professor Layton.
Okay. Those games will finally come out and be pretty great. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Or does Layton Brothers kind of make you apprehensive? It's like Layton comes out and it's lame.
I'm double
It's the
downing
worst
on
one.
real Professor Layton. None of his stupid brother.
Okay. Okay.
Nathan.
I'm just looking at kind of what I have here, like predictions for 2014. This one I wrote down last, and I'm like, just kind of, I hope something cool happens on this front. Maybe Dragon Age 3 Inquisition will be like crazy awesome.
You have to make a prediction. What is your prediction? None of this maybe.
Oh, well, no, I wrote down. Okay, fine. Dragon Age 3 Inquisition is going to just stand out as like, wow, BioWare just took all that feedback after everyone got all pissed about Mass Effect 3. They made like a top-tier, world-class RPG. Holy crap, this game's so good.
Okay. John, you got one?
Prediction for a game or just overall in general?
Either. Both. What do you got? Give me one.
Because I listed a bunch of games I'm looking forward to, but actual prediction, I say that one of the new consoles, Xbox One or PS4, is going to have a small price drop. I originally wrote down only one of the two, but since that worked out well last year, I don't know. I see Xbox One having a price drop before PS4 due to the $100 lead. Wii U's already had a small price drop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to predict Xbox One having a small price drop, maybe of $50.
Cool. Let's see if I have one that I can think of. I'm trying to. I didn't actually prepare money predictions.
I wrote it when you were reading out the others, our old predictions.
Right. What are some games that I'm excited for? The next Pokemon will be called Zed. That sucks. That's not a cool prediction. That's a
Okay.
lame one. I'm not putting that down. I don't know. Nathan, do you have one ready?
Dark Souls 2 comes out and angers the core fan base because they watered it down just enough to piss people off. I don't know if there's anything indicating that's going to happen. As far as I know, the beta went well, but I don't know. Namco's been weird about that series, so maybe that'll happen.
Okay, I got a prediction.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned this in my review for Walking Dead. People start getting a bit tired and a feeling that Telltale's games are becoming formulaic.
Okay.
Because they have 4 of them, and from what we know, they're probably going to be all like The Walking Dead.
So spread a little thin, like people start getting fatigued again with adventure games.
Just that specific brand of dialogue tree is the thing.
Okay. Huh.
John, you got one?
The Wii U is gonna be back in the black once Mario Kart and Smash Brothers are out, since those are the same ones that pushed a lot of Wii sales. However, people are still gonna say that they're a doomed company, and it's still not gonna quite catch up to the Xbox One and PS4.
Okay, hang on. So what is the prediction here? Is it a
Oh.
success or not?
Wii U finally gets in the black once Mario Kart and Smash are out.
Does that mean like kind of breaks even, or they're above the waterline? Is that
Above
kinda what
above the waterline. I think basically Nintendo's profits are gonna be much higher next year.
Okay. I mean 3DS they had some good hits this year, but yeah, Wii U's been kind of sad, but I hope
Yeah.
they turn it around.
Yeah, basically the Wii U gets out of a slump next year is probably a short way of saying it.
Okay.
It's also got like Bayonetta 4 and the new Donkey Kong Country coming out on top of those.
Yeah, and the Mario Kart and stuff like that. I
Just like
think
Bayonetta
they'll
2
pick up
is
some
a
heat.
fortune.
That should happen. Man, I don't know. It's like maybe like too early to call this kind of thing, but do you think like first a question I guess, do you think Oculus Rift will actually ship in 2014, like commercially available?
I don't know.
Well, you can make that a prediction. I'll make that as a prediction.
Maybe the Rift the goggles by itself, I'd imagine. Maybe not with
Okay.
the hand motion controllers though.
That thing seems really, really cool. I just don't know if it's like quite ready yet, but that would be really great. All right. Huh.
I have a
Yeah,
couple games
sure.
I'm looking forward to. Transistor
Oh yeah, jeez.
and
Yeah.
The Witness.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Blow. Finally, that may well come out.
John, you said you had a few games you're looking forward to, right?
Yeah.
What's up?
Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc.
I don't know what that is. Trigger
That's-
Happy Havoc.
Danganronpa is the actual name of the game and the series. Basically, it's a Phoenix Wright-esque game, but you're all like high school students, and you're locked in a school, and the only way to escape is to murder someone else. So you have to figure out like who did it and why.
Whoa, dark. Hollow Miami 2. Wrong number. I don't know. I saw it this year, so that sort of came true, but yeah, I don't know. That'll eventually come out. So I'm kind of curious about that. Watch Dogs, do you think that's gonna still make a splash, or do you think that it being delayed is a bad sign?
I don't know. Let's hear your prediction.
I think it'll still be a good game.
Okay. I don't know if I have a prediction on that.
Okay, how about some let's do some 3DS stuff. Anything
Okay.
happening with that?
I have nothing on my list for 3DS.
I mean, you said Pokemon Z, right? So there you go. That's gonna happen. I don't know. Is there any like interesting stuff on the way for 3DS? Like really? Is that
The Smash Brothers.
right? Oh man, right. Smash Brothers. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you think that comes out and the hardcore Melee fan base is still pissed because they ruined it. It's too
Make
slow.
a prediction. I'll type
I
it
just
up.
did. New Smash Brothers ain't no Melee. There you go.
All right, here's what I'll ask you guys, or I'll make
Yeah.
the prediction between the two for Wii U and 3DS. I'm gonna say the Wii U. Well, I feel this is too easy. The Wii U one is gonna be way better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Oh,
say
yeah.
the 3DS one is forgettable. Like, yeah, I'll
an
do that.
afterthought, kind of. It's just okay.
All right,
I'm kind of out. Like I only had 5 things written down, so
John, you got any more?
Games I'm looking forward to?
Sure.
2014 stuff.
Towerfall Ascension, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, which reminds me, I meant to put that on my 20XX Game of the Year, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 1. That game surprised the hell out of me this year.
Okay.
All right, let's stop it there.
I have one more.
Okay, one more.
Okay. Super Hot gets fleshed out into a full retail release and is really cool. I don't know if you guys played that, but I finally did, and it was pretty awesome. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, with that, that's gonna do it for this show. So, all right, games of the week.
Oh, God.
Can we do that, or just
Game.
bolt
All
that
right,
on?
guys. What's your game of the year? No.
I think we already did that one.
Yeah.
Um.
No, I was joking. I don't need a game of the
Oh.
week.
All right, whatever. What was your game of the year? Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, okay, cool.
Payday
That one's
2.
worth-
Also my
worth
game
it.
of the week.
Yeah. So I would
Okay.
recommend Game and Wario.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. There's some games to play this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I guess
Thanks for
next time we'll be talking to people. We'll be in the new year.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you want to write us
And
questions,
I
and
won't
stuff,
be here.
Yeah, John won't be here for the first week. He'll be at MagFest.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, if you guys want to write us questions for our show,
Yeah.
topdownperspective@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, show announcements, and follow us on Twitter. It's at TDP Podcast. But thanks for 2013, everyone.
Yeah. And thanks for sending in your submissions again. That was a lot of data to go through, but we appreciate it. So
For sure.
thank you.
All right, bye, guys. Bye. Happy New Year.
Fire.